Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Giantbomb Community Podcast. I am your host, Fat Mac. You can call me Matt. This is going to be our first episode. We're going to be testing a couple of things out, a couple of segments that my esteemed panel of guests have come up with. So, before we start things off, let me introduce my panel of guests. Firstly, Akbar the Great, please introduce yourself to the wonderful listeners.
Hi, I'm Akbar the Great. I go by Joe. I'm single, willing, and ready to mingle.
Okay, that's Akbar. To Walrus, please introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Chris. Two Walrus on the site, obviously. Sometimes I feel like I am a high post count without a personality, so hopefully this will turn things around a little bit here. I'm ready for this.
Hopefully. Justin, Believer 27, introduce yourself.
I'm Believer258, and my name is Justin. And hell, I ain't rhyming.
His most
I fucked up. Let's go on.
Dean Ramen. Red and Black, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up? My name's Ty. I'm Red and Black on the site, and happy to be a part of this.
Good. Finally, Atlas, what do you got to say for yourself?
Man, you had to save me for last, didn't you?
Yeah.
I go by Atlas on Giantbomb. My real name is Stefan. I'm from South London in the United Kingdom, and I like video games.
I think we all like video games, hopefully.
Oh, that's what this podcast is about?
No.
I also like long walks on the beach.
That's good.
And you and I get along fine then.
Yeah. So, with introductions out of the way, let's get to our first segment, what you've been playing. Insert music here. I don't know.
Sure. I'll come up with something. Don't worry.
Okay.
I think it's pretty obvious what we've all been playing.
Luigi's Mansion 2, right?
Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel.
Persona 3.
I did play the demo of that game.
Jesus, why would you do that?
What?
Because it was free and I didn't have anything to do on a Wednesday afternoon.
The twist is so heavy.
No.
There were no twists in the demo.
No twists.
Was there the
But
devil?
that's all I can... in a manner of speaking.
The quick look kind of.
It's made by EA, so it has a little bit of the devil in every frame.
All right,
Yeah.
Army of Two versus Diablo 3, go.
Maybe the twist is supposed to be John Riccatello losing his job.
Wow.
That'd be a pretty surprising change for a video game. Just to introduce that at the last second.
All right, so should we just go? We just go into Bioshock?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's like literally what I spent all week playing, except for here and there.
Man, Bioshock, this is the first time in a very long time that I sat down and played through a whole game in two sittings. Like 6 to 7 hour sittings, I played through that whole thing.
All right, I don't know what everyone else's experience was like. I mean, obviously we're going to talk about it. I think I might end up being the one who had the shortest game experience because my Steam clock had me at 9 hours for that game.
Mine had me at 10, so...
Did you play it on hard?
I did not play it on hard because I saw that PC Gamer article about an hour after I started the game.
I played it on hard, and I died quite a few times, especially near the end. I actually kicked it down to medium.
Yeah, that ending part's
same thing.
difficult.
I kind of don't like the hard because I felt like I never had enough money to buy any upgrades or anything.
Yeah.
I didn't really use the money for the upgrades. I really just used it to buy ammo all the time. Especially at the end of that game, I was always low on ammo.
That was an issue on normal, too. Like, I didn't upgrade very many of my tonics at all. I just didn't have the cash.
I didn't feel like,
I upgraded about 3 or 4 of the guns that I actually liked and used. I almost never bought ammo. I think I was just maybe in a situation where I was scavenging more and balancing my tonic use better. I don't know. I think the problem with normal is that for the first, for me it was like 5 hours of the game. I didn't die once. It was a little bit too much of a cakewalk. And then just about the time you fight your first handyman, from there on, like the handymen are sort of a little bit OP, sort of regardless.
I can never really get a good shot on them.
So you use the tentacle plasmid, not plasmid, tonic.
Oh.
Plasmid.
It's interchangeable.
Yeah.
The handymans were all right. I mean, are we gonna? I guess this isn't a spoiler. I was not a fan of the ghost fights.
The ghost fights were out of nowhere.
I really. I mean, it wasn't not in terms of a story sense. I just didn't think they were that fun. Like I didn't. They
Yeah.
were seen to be
Too much
immune
health.
to all the plasmids. You couldn't collect any of the
That's
you
where I
couldn't
knocked it
collect
down
anything
to
from the
medium.
corpses. Like
Only time in the game I ran out of ammo.
yeah,
That's where I knocked it
that
down
for
to
the
medium.
in the graveyard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I did the exact same problem.
I died so many times on that.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough sequence for me as well.
I will say, just in terms of the combat, since we're not really talking about spoilers at this point, the first moment when you get a chance to use the skylines, like in combat, in like a combat arena type situation,
Incredible.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
One of the best moments I've played in terms of just a combat scenario in games this year or the last couple of years. It's when you first get on them and you really understand, because like I used them, but like I didn't really know. When you first realize that you can use them to just like totally gain the advantage on everybody, it is an amazing moment. I don't think there's anything in the first Bioshock in terms of combat that really equaled that moment.
My real only problem with that is I wish I could use the vigors while flying around on them.
Yeah, me too. I kept pressing LT and it just kept zooming in.
And like I mean I understand from like your left hand should be the vigor thing, and currently has Skyhook, but I'd rather
use them with your foot or something.
No, you just don't shoot. Use that hand to.
I
Here's
think
the really
shooting's
weird
more valuable.
I mean, you
Here's the weird thing about it. Did anyone else play that game on PC with mouse and keyboard controls?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I did.
No, I didn't.
Nope.
And it was just so weird. I ended up sticking with it for the whole game, but the fact that right mouse button is vigors, not aim down the sights, that
must be insane for PC.
Yeah.
I
PC
remapped that. I put
just change that.
Yeah, I remapped it. I put the vigors on. Like I have two buttons on the side of my mouse, and I put vigors on one of those.
Yeah, that probably was a smarter thing for me to do as well.
Yeah, the scroll wheel was melee and was aim down sights.
I thought it was weirder how right mouse button was that left hand and the right mouse button was the left right.
You know what?
Does
I
everyone
did
play it on
notice that as
consoles,
well.
or is
That
everyone
was-
here PC?
I played it on consoles.
Okay.
What version did you guys get?
I played the 360 version.
360.
I thought
Yeah.
there'd be like a special thing if I played Bioshock 1, but
No. It's
like,
kind of rough.
yeah.
Did you guys find it odd that your melee attack is basically in your left hand, but when you're just like, where does it come from? Because it's
a vigor.
no, the skyhook.
No,
yeah,
I
I
know.
noticed that on Elizabeth too. Her skyhook just disappeared whenever she got off of it, and that was.
I saw her
that was
pull
weird.
a book out of her hair once when you had to like find those code books. She pulled the book out of her hair.
That's
I
actually
saw
sweet.
her I saw her round a corner one time, and then I heard, "Here's some salts," and then I pushed the button, and he turned all the way around to where she was behind me, like she.
Hey, I found some money. Do you want some?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more annoying or useful.
I don't know.
I
It's
found
kind of
money.
annoying every 10 seconds when you're just
I
walking
found some
around.
money. Here, let me throw it at you from 50 yards away.
I think
You know, when that
Yeah,
first
I think
happened,
they
I was
obs-
like, that's a really cool animation.
But she would also
totally.
she would also spot out like lockpicks. She'd be like, oh, there's a lockpick over there.
I think it would have
and
been more
I-
useful to say, here's some money, like point at it or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that
Throwing
was
it.
pretty cool. When
So
she would
the
just
enemy
point it out in
spotting
the
was awesome.
environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the enemy
was really
spotting
helpful.
was really useful.
I also like it in combat when it's over. It just has a cool music note or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
stab.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very useful, like Years of
Yeah.
War.
really.
I like
good.
that we're talking about combat first, which is kind of the weak point of the game.
Well, yeah,
But-
we
but you know
specifically
what-
said we weren't going to talk about spoilers, but if you keep listening
Well, we
at
could
the end
talk
of the
about
show,
the story, like in
Yeah, I mean,
general.
we can talk about the atmosphere and the ambiance in the game, even if we don't want to get deep
Alright.
into the specifics of the story, especially in the late game. I think the combat is worth talking about in this game. I don't necessarily think it's a great shooter by any means. I think to some extent,
Yeah,
I think
Compared-
to some
Compared to the
I think to
first
some
one,
extent-
the shooting in combat is so much better.
But
well, I
I
liked the
think
first
it
one's
was-
combat a good bit. I don't know if I'm just insane or.
well,
Have you
What?
played that game recently?
no,
Yeah.
I played it. Yeah, I played it a
I
couple
just
weeks
played it
ago.
like
I played it on hard with the Vita chambers off.
Okay. So
I
I don't
maybe
like
that's
hearing people like, oh,
the
I think I like this better, and then they haven't played it like 3 years.
okay.
Yeah.
It's especially a problem for me because when I played Bioshock, especially the first time, I hadn't actually played that many first-person shooters apart from like Half-Life 2 and stuff like that, so I didn't have that much perspective on it. Now I'm coming into Bioshock Infinite, having played like 200 hours of Team Fortress and all these other games, the sort of mine in that same well. So I think I had a little bit more perspective on it, but I still ended up feeling like just generally the shooting. I think the guns hit harder in Bioshock Infinite much more than they did in Bioshock.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we're sitting here picking apart the combat in this game, because if that's kind of the biggest problem we had with it, I mean, you could tell it was a pretty great game.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
The game,
it's just weakest link, but it's not
pretty good.
really
I
weak.
like
it's
the
still, it's still
openness
better than
of
mine.
it.
I thought it was
One of the-
perfectly fine. I mean,
Yeah, I like the openness of it.
compared to the first one, I thought it was perfectly fine. And just the way that the scenarios, like the settings and the way they use cover and the way they have like multiple levels of elevation.
Yeah, that was pretty
is
cool.
a huge
Yeah.
you need to use multiple like height ranges and heights to engage the enemy. I thought it was great. I mean,
Now,
I
my major problem with it though was that a lot of it had this feeling that like Gears of War and a lot of other shooters fall into is when I walk into an area, I can say, okay, I'm going to fight here.
Yeah.
really, because I had that problem with Mass Effect 2.
well, they put those
very
like
specifically,
It's just that you walk into an area and it's just a big box, and I automatically
actually,
know, all right, I'm
know-
going to fight here.
they also
know
put
what?
I kept
those-
moving a lot and using the skyhooks and opening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
same
opening
here. I'm not
stairs to
saying
fright
that, but I'm
hooks.
just saying it felt like there was a lot of just combat areas. I mean, my problem
actually,
is
There's too
playing
much
the first-
combat.
no.
Well, you could
like,
tell there
playing
was
the
going to
first-
be a combat area when you saw that there's a giant skyhook looping around this area, which I actually
Yeah.
loved,
Oh.
because every
or,
single
or
time,
also
like, I
when
didn't
they
even...
had those police barricades set up that said "police line, do not cross." Like you knew as soon as you walked over those, you were going to engage.
Yeah,
and also now that I think about it, as soon as you see the combat tears, like, hey, put a gun or something.
Yeah.
on there, it's like,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm gonna do some fighting here.
but
That was,
compared to the
that was a
first
decade away from
Bioshock,
the graveyard.
where you're
And
just
also,
like exploring Rapture and you see you just kind of walk into combat encounters. Yeah, like, it's not really telegraphed until it happens,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah,
because it was more immersive in that regard. I kind of like that over the way they did it in Bioshock Infinite.
well, Bioshock Infinite felt really Half-Life 2-ish to me.
Yeah,
And that game, I know it's a 2004 game, but you could still tell most of the time when you were going to get into a combat situation.
That
But
game still
Infinite-
holds up though.
yeah.
Infinite
I
still.
would, I would, I would,
I mean,
would
it's
play
not.
Half-Life tomorrow and be happy as Larry.
If you
I'm
want to
not the
argue
biggest
about
Half-Life 2
2,
fan here, but whatever.
Yeah.
I
But the
wrote
only
like that
problem I
story in
really
Half-Life.
had
It's
was
a little
you can't hold
frustrating.
all the guns.
I
Yeah.
don't want. I don't want to talk about the ending in specifics until later, obviously. But I think it's really rare to have a game that starts and just absolutely pulls you in so good. Like the start of that game is just absolutely phenomenal. Just
Yeah.
the things that you're seeing and when you're introduced to the world, and for it to start that well and have some points where it dragged you in the middle, but then sort of wrap up that well as well. Like, I just think that game is an absolute triumph in a lot of regards, even
Okay.
if in some respects it wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be.
Did any of you do that thing? They put that super handy navigation feature in there. Did anyone else use it to hit it, see where you're supposed to go, and then go in the opposite direction?
I don't.
All
Yes.
the time.
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy
did
with
that
that.
a lot.
I cannot imagine
you know-
playing this game like a linear sense, just going and following the arrow the whole time. I cannot imagine playing it that way.
It wouldn't be fun. No.
I mean,
Or-
this might be a spoiler-ish thing, but that has to do with the fact that those environments, like, so much encouraged you to explore, like, every
Yeah.
little shop and every little corner. Like, you wanted to just walk around just to see all the, like, the amount of art assets that they must have generated for those environments must be just 10 times more than any other game.
I wish,
out
and
there. I mean,
here's a
yeah.
complaint with the game. I wish there was a bigger chunk of that game that took place in Colombia before everything went to hell, because I just loved walking
Totally.
around and listening to the
Oh, yeah.
conversations
Totally.
people were
Yeah.
having, and
Exactly.
the fucking
The-
They
barber
did it
shop
on
shit
purpose to
that was
kind of
there.
contrast when you came in
Oh, I
and then
know.
after that.
And it's kind of like that feeling of when you went to Rapture, everything was crap already.
Right.
Like this,
Yeah.
you actually get
I
to
think
see
there's just a good
everything.
transition to going from here's beautiful Colombia to here's the Vox coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
We should
because in
cut
the original,
that right there, though, just to cut potential spoilers off a little bit.
Right.
You know,
All right.
Right.
So the contrast from good things to going bad. Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty great.
yeah, that's
Um,
fantastic.
But I still think the best parts of that game are the parts where you're not shooting anyone, where you're just walking around.
Yeah. Did anyone do this where they were like stealing stuff and then they stole something in red? And I'm like, oh no, and then the cops started shooting.
I did
me.
that.
Oh, yeah.
I did that. I think around the.
I think I've never done that in a game where I just steal stuff and I feel bad about it because I don't want to kill people when I'm trying to explore an area. I just want to keep exploring it.
I stole all
happened
the
to me
money
as
in the
well.
temple in the beginning of the game. Just walked to all those rooms.
You know,
And I
I,
stole that.
I actually-
You know when you first walk out and you see that guy's hot dog stand?
mhm.
Yeah.
I just went up to it and grabbed all his hot dogs.
Well, you can't. That's not
Or you're not
stealing.
supposed
That's
to.
not stealing. It's only stealing if they highlight that in red.
I didn't even
It's
notice.
only stealing.
Yeah, just like
Yeah,
in
that
real
applies
life,
to
right?
real life.
Imagine, I just love like seeing myself just stealing every little thing in a town. Imagine this being in real life or something, and just seeing this happen.
On the opposite side of that, I
that
was
guy's
walking
fucking
through
insane, just stealing hot dogs.
walking through the slave quarters, and I was looking around, and I had my mouse cursor over somebody, and I accidentally clicked the button and accidentally shot a slave woman in the face, and no one cared apparently. So you get in more
Yeah,
trouble
wow.
for stealing
There are a
than
lot of moments like that.
That's quite a political statement right there.
There's
I
a
didn't mean
moment
Yeah, slave people don't matter apparently.
in that area specifically. There's a moment that kind of deals with the stealing aspect. It is a very, very like moral choice thing of like, should I take this or not?
The
If you know what I'm
charity money?
talking about.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you're referring to.
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
specifically.
Talk
I
about
don't
it
want
the
later.
beginning.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil
Yeah.
it, but I'll tell you later.
All right, keep it
I
down
have
on that.
Yeah.
I have
Um,
one very specific complaint about sort of the items and sort of the scavenging
Well,
in that game. Which
Before we
you-
get off that, I want to talk about the atmosphere a little bit one more.
all right.
Did anyone else show this game off?
I did. I showed it
yeah.
to my dad because
Yeah.
I showed him the first level of the first Bioshock, and like he thought it was the coolest thing he'd ever seen. Like he doesn't care about games at all. He hates them in general, but he loved the design aesthetic and all the neon and glowy stuff. He loved the way it looked. He loved the environment and the design of it. And I showed him this one, and I got up to the raffle scene. I guess that's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
But I got up to the
No.
raffle scene, and I showed him the whole beginning of the game up to that point, and he was like, I like the first one better.
Well, you see,
Wow.
I had the opposite. I showed this to my parents because I'm always on that quest of, guys, video games are awesome. You should pay more attention to them.
Yeah.
But
I gave up on that vision.
Yeah, I gave up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I kind of give up. My dad's
I'm-
not
they
even
never
batting an eye at games. Like whatever, stop playing.
I
with them,
still
so.
trying. But I felt like this is the perfect game because this kind of had a thing that they enjoyed about it, and the barbershop quartet scene really struck home with
Oh.
them in a sense. If you know what I mean.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what he did like. He really liked the heads and tails scene.
Yeah.
He thought that
Yeah,
was
the
a really cool
interaction of that
moment.
couple was fantastic.
And
Oh,
but
God,
that
that's
specific
cool.
scene, because when they turn around and the board's there, that
Yeah.
specific
I
scene.
didn't even notice
Yeah.
that the first time.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was he did like that part, but it was so weird because he was actually like he saw the commercials and the previews and movies and stuff for everything for it, and he loved the first one, or at least what I showed him of it. And so he was like, what do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? And I was like, I showed it to him. He was like, I like the first one better.
I think Rapture is just a bit more unique in that sense.
I don't want to spoil too much, but I think they put more focus on Rapture than they do Columbia.
Yeah, well, that's because Bioshock 1 was a lot more about Rapture, and this doesn't feel like a game that's about Columbia. Columbia is the backdrop of the whole game.
You didn't
I
have
mean,
an
it's
AI
still
companion.
Yeah.
And that's
the
exactly one of my
Oh my
complaints about it
God.
to a certain extent.
I don't get this. I do not get this. Just
What
the amount
don't
of
you get?
the amount of things you see in the start of that game, just looking everywhere and just trying. It
Well,
feels
it's-
placed.
I
feels
agree
place
with
it's
you.
always
There's
been.
It's a wonderfully realized world. It's just
Oh, it's fantastic, but I mean,
It is.
in
There's no
Bioshock,
question about that.
in
I
Bioshock,
cannot
you're
believe
told.
people just being disappointed about that.
Oh, hold
Just-
on. In Bioshock, you're told how they get their power, how the plasmids were made, how the city was made, what kind of materials they made the city out of. Like, just pretty much the complete history of Rapture. Whereas Columbia, you get some of that, but you don't get as much as you did. Almost everything in Bioshock was about Rapture. Whereas a lot of the stuff in Bioshock Infinite is more personal. Now, that's not a
Yeah,
detractor.
the-
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
The compromise that they made with Bioshock Infinite is that in the original Bioshock, you don't really have any meaningful interaction with another NPC for any
That's right.
There's
There's
significant
no-
time.
except unless they're
Whereas-
trying to kill
Whereas
you.
Bioshock Infinite is exactly
Yeah.
unless they're trying to stab you in the face.
No, you're absolutely right. But I mean that was such a striking dichotomy or juxtaposition between the two to notice what a huge difference people in a game make.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
I
what's
mean, it's
great about it.
really, really striking, especially
Yeah.
if you play them back to back or close to back to back.
Kind of want to go back and just see some of the early places of Bioshock, just to.
Oh, God, it's great. I
I'm
mean,
gonna
the
I'm gonna
combat
play it
is-
again this weekend.
It
mean,
still looks
yeah,
it
that-
still looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure
one
it's
of the
great. I
reasons
just kind
I
of
was-
want to remind myself of that game again. I remembered the starts of it, but
Okay, you know what? I
Yeah.
played that game one time when it came out. In what was it, 2008? I played it one time. I
2007.
remember just about
2007.
everything about it. I played through Bioshock 2 when it came out a few years later. I don't remember a thing about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I
the-
remember-
I actually I actually like Bioshock 2, but let's get
I like it
one
too.
thing
It's a
straight.
solid game.
I remember it being
there is
fine,
nothing-
but not even close.
It's a
Yeah.
good game. It just has the unfortunate position of being compared to.
Bioshock 1.
There is nothing in Bioshock 2 that is as memorable as the memorable.
Well, this
as-
time
as
you
the
are
really-
the-
No.
The ending
There's-
sections of the ending
Bioshock-
section of Bioshock 2 is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, the little
It's-
sister stuff that they do.
It's better than the first one, but still, I don't
Yeah,
think
the
that
Bioshock 1 ending is kind of terrible.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think. Well, I'm just talking
Good
about.
guy.
Well, not the story stuff, just the last encounter. I still don't think Irrational really understand how to make a like game-ending huge boss battle very well.
Luckily,
Nanomachine, son.
Sorry, I'm not thinking this through.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Can
Can we cut this part?
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'll,
we'll cut that.
Alright.
I'll work it out. Sure.
Just bleep it. It'd be funny.
You
Yeah.
gotta believe.
So, anyone
I
has
mean-
to say anything else about Bioshock Infinite? Or
I can't believe Andrew Ryan is the final boss of Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, that's
I know.
Yeah.
Left field, right?
Crazy.
I knew it was
And he was
coming.
there with
I was kind
Master
of-
Chief? Like, what?
That would be a way better game.
You know what? Well, never mind. I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
I will say
I-
that
so-
at the end of that game, I had roughly 1 million pictures of Elizabeth in my screenshot folder for reasons I can't really explain.
Yeah, you
She
Like-
they did a really great job on the animations on
It's
her
like,
face.
This is a
Oh,
picture
huge
of Elizabeth
God.
holding a cotton
And-
candy. I better take a screenshot of that for some reason.
fantastic
It's-
character. All in
I'm
all.
gonna put
It's
these
the
pictures all
absolute-
over my
yeah.
wall.
And
If I
it's funny.
smell
I
him,
had
maybe I can smell her.
My Elizabeth shrine.
yeah, it's fantastic how they sort of visually portray the arc that she goes through with the game. But she just starts off like she's so well designed, she's so well animated, and there are some quirks where she'll like pop up behind you or
That's just.
I never-
gameplay.
it took me a while to get used to the thing of am I supposed to be following her or eventually like she'll follow me and like but then sort
At
of
the same point,
catch
is
up
that kind of the point of the game? If you really think
yeah
about it.
kind of.
Yeah.
You know, I was happy with it. I think she's one of easily like the best. Like regardless of her gender, like you can talk about her being like a strong female character all you want, but I just think that generally she's a fantastic character, and I was really happy that
She can
best
take
thing
care
is-
of herself.
I got this.
Yeah, she doesn't. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it. She's impervious to bullets.
There was one specific instance where the combat in that game is pretty.
game in the
hectic.
game?
Um,
The game in the game.
Yeah, the game in the game. Yeah,
That
the
joke
meta
about
game of
the
Bioshock.
freaking delay though was pretty phenomenal.
The what?
You guys,
Battle.
Wait, what?
there's a joke about delaying something, and
Oh yeah,
great.
Duke and Dimwit. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard it was
yeah.
delayed 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did catch that.
that was really good.
I missed it.
I'm obviously missing something.
Yeah,
I'm
I
obviously
missed
missing
it
something.
too.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
So who
There-
saw
there
the
was one
guitar
that-
scene?
I
Oh
did.
god.
I
I-
found
I-
YouTube.
I saw the
Yeah.
guitar
Missed
scene
it in the
when it
game.
was absolutely
Who
fantastic.
else has been playing that song for the past like 3 days?
I actually looked up the tab last night.
So good.
It's so good.
Yeah,
It was so
that was pretty great. So what I was trying to say is that there was one specific scene where the combat was getting really hectic, and for some reason she just sort of strafed, like made a quick movement right in front of my sights, and my instinct, my just gut reaction is just to see something move in front of me and just shoot it. So I basically shot her, point blank in the face with a shotgun, and that took me out of the moment a little bit because obviously it does absolutely nothing to her
Yeah.
because she's made of magic or something.
Well, one great
But
thing
you
about
can, you can nitpick all you want, but it was such a good idea and so well implemented. I can't really criticize them. I can criticize them for some other things, but not that.
I think I'm gonna try to be as unspoilery as I possibly can right here. She is gaming's first true Disney princess.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
She was a lot like a
Yeah.
darker Disney princess.
I wish she hadn't
Alice-
said that.
I'll totally go.
Alex Vance, maybe?
And that, well, I mean,
I thought this is the first
but when,
time
when I say Disney princess, I don't mean it in like this
Alex
strictest
Vance is the
sense.
Disney princess.
yeah.
I mean, she's still
I think-
tomboyish, but she has this kind of fairy tale-esque feeling to her character and the way she goes about the world that is just
And
fantastic.
Ken Levine also talked about that on the
yeah.
Yeah,
Giant Bombcast video.
I saw a side by side of the animation of her, like really early in the game, where you get washed up on Battleship Bay, and she's with the musicians, and she's sort of twirling around. And somebody did a side-by-side comparison of, I think it might be Sleeping Beauty doing exactly that sort of twirl. It's definitely the vibe that gets maintained throughout the game. Less so when we get into sort of like the darker aspects, which we won't go into here.
But still, yeah. All right. So
And
yeah,
I'm
I think
also-
Booker DeWitt,
What about him?
I think
No.
Booker DeWitt is an interesting guy. And despite the fact that he's obviously clearly got some serious anti-hero credentials and has done some raw shit, I still was able to sympathize with him, and I still thought he was a really interesting character to play and see his arc unfold as well.
Yeah,
we can
great
talk
voice
more about
acting
it.
too.
Yeah,
Fantastic
we'll talk-
voice acting all around.
yeah, let's probably end the spoilery talk or semi-spoilery talk here for now.
One last thing, just my case for probably a lot of characters should be voiced is still with Booker DeWitt. Just
Yeah.
I felt the story was a lot more stronger with a character that spoke and was in the
Yes.
story instead of having
Like-
Gordon Freeman where he just looks at stuff and is like, okay.
Yeah, I want to see less silent protagonists overall in games.
Yeah. I think this
it's
relationship
funny.
surpasses Alex Vance and Gordon Freeman personally.
It's funny because with this, and to a certain extent with Far Cry 3, they have done something really impressive, which is taking a first-person view camera and making them actually sort of fleshed out as a character. I think
wouldn't
Bioshock
say
Infinite-
Well, Far Cry
Crisis-
3 kind of
Crisis
fucks
One
that up
kinda did.
a lot.
Crisis
Yeah.
1 kind of did it.
I'm not saying that Far Cry 3 maintains that throughout, and I'm not saying that it's better or comparable to Bioshock Infinite. I just think they did that reasonably well,
Yeah,
and then
but
Bioshock
this-
Infinite just taken it to a whole new level.
But at the same
Well-
time, I think Bioshock 1 did that pretty well and gave you a pretty good example of why he was silent the entire time while still continuing have a pretty fleshed out character.
He spoke.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll agree with
Like
that
for
definitely.
2 lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They told me I was different.
You could
All
just
right,
really
Let me go into my biggest disappointment about that game. My
Sure.
biggest disappointment about Bioshock Infinite, and it's
Go,
so
Andrew
different
Ryan.
No,
Don't spoil
my
it.
biggest disappointment about Bioshock Infinite is that so there was actually I think BOG started a thread about this on the forums about how like the fact that they don't really go so much into the basic concept of American exceptionalism
Doesn't
But I
bother
is
me.
a
think
missed opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a
No.
missed opportunity because I thought that stuff was so fantastic and
don't
so
wanna-
fascinating.
All right, hold on. I
And
don't
the
wanna
fact that
spoil.
the fact that they use it as like a basic backdrop in the same way that they used objectivism in the original Bioshock just left me a little bit disappointed.
I don't want to be super spoily. I'm just gonna say this right now. I think they did that on purpose. I will elaborate more on that when we actually get to the spoiler discussion. But yeah,
Well, Jeff already commented on the Bombcast how it sort of becomes more of a science fiction thing, and that's the specific sort of territory that they're mining.
just
I think they-
save this for later. Some
Too
people
close. Too close.
Too
You're
close,
getting
too
too
close.
close.
Too close to the sun.
Yeah.
La Revenge
I-
to la Jedi.
I just think no one will be able to make a game properly about American exceptionalism now without people going for the Bioshock Infinite thing. And I think that is a real shame.
There are
because I
3
think that
pieces of
was
DLC
fascinating.
coming out, and I think they'll probably look into that a little more during those.
And I would be
well,
super excited.
Hopefully.
And it's stuff that they don't even really go to in the game that much. Like, I don't actually.
Okay.
Alright.
Let's just cut it there for now.
All right. I have a complaint that's purely mechanical.
All right, go for it.
So, I mean, you can complain as much as you want about all the sort of random useless stuff that you can pick up in games like the Elder Scrolls games, but the other end of that spectrum is what Bioshock Infinite has, which is you just go through every single room in that game you go through, and you just click the F button, and you don't look at what you're picking up. You just hoard it all. You eat everything instantaneously, and I just think that's just not that fun.
You
didn't make-
kinda did
how
that.
They
many-
don't force you to do it. You can just keep moving. You don't have to eat everything.
I
How
like to
many
think Booker DeWitt is
voxophones?
obese.
Yeah, I said there was a
He's
Photoshop. or
breathing.
not a
Jesus
Photoshop.
Christ.
No,
There
that's
was
my bad.
There was a not a Photoshop, but a cartoon somebody posted that was like 300-pound Booker DeWitt filled with like bananas and hot dogs and everything, and like, but yeah, how many voxophones did you guys pick up? Because I finished the game with 40.
I got like 60.
I don't remember.
I got 68.
I think I was about 60 as well.
Yeah.
I got like 40, and
I got
that's
like half of them.
obviously, yeah.
Suckers, I explored more than you.
You
Yeah, you
did.
got more story
Probably
too.
did.
Yeah.
I
There's a
didn't.
certain part of that game though where I just kind of want to just run through it really fast, but
I couldn't do
I
that.
kind of had the same thing. Like I'm a natural scavenger a lot in games, and there was one specific moment earlier on where I was supposed to be chasing Elizabeth and sort of running after her to make sure that she was safe, and there was very obviously a non-essential room to go into where exploration was going to happen, just scavenging was going to happen. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to come back here, so I'm just going to completely break immersion and dive into this room, despite the fact that he's going, Elizabeth, get back here.
Oh wait, I
Right.
got a banana here.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I gotta say
I fa-
before we get off this, I'm really impressed with Booker's ability to eat a pineapple whole, skin and everything.
It's pretty good.
I like the
Besides-
random.
I was
foods
more
that
impressed
you
with the-
that are there, like banana and hot dog and
Yeah.
pineapples.
I was more
Why do
impressed with the
people
Big Daddy's
in
ability to.
Colombia put their
to-
money in trash cans?
Hey, where else are you gonna hide it?
It's-
No one would think to
It's
look
a
there.
good question.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly legitimate question that I don't think anybody has an answer for.
Video games.
Here's another
there's-
question.
Yeah,
Why has no one actually created like a motorized horse with wheels on the back and front legs on the front that drag it forward that you ride like a motorcycle? I want one of
I know,
those.
right? And that was 1912. That's 101 years ago. Like, what are we doing?
That's one of the things. I took a screenshot of it, sent it to a couple of friends on Steam. You need to play Bioshock Infinite. Here's why.
In some of the
Steampunk
actual
was-
earlier previews, didn't they actually play a role? Or at least a
There
horse
was
did?
a lot of stuff in the previews that
I
they
quit
didn't
watching.
actually go
I quit
into
watching. I'm
the
like,
game.
I know I'm gonna play this game. I'm not gonna watch.
Oh,
more
but no, I mean
trailers.
this
I'm
is
not
like
gonna-
really, really early. This is like the second thing they showed of the game.
I'm basically the same as Chris. I mean, I just
I don't-
I
I don't
I remember
I
a dead.
didn't watch any of the trailers.
I remember a nearly dead horse that she tried to revive that wasn't in
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah, that was
That's-
it. That's
Oh
what I'm
God,
talking about.
But there were no, I don't
I
think
do
there were any
remember
real
that.
horses in the game.
No.
There weren't.
I remember exactly that.
You know, now
Now
I
that
think
you
it'd be
mention it.
interesting to go back and look at that stuff. I'm gonna go find it.
DLC.
We've been talking about Bioshock Infinite a lot. Has anyone else played anything other than Bioshock?
I played a little bit of Rage, and I played a little bit of Persona 3.
Have
Wait,
you seen?
somebody else played Rage?
Beat Rage twice.
Why?
That's the first and only game I ever S ranked. And then they released a freaking piece of DLC for it 2 years later, or a year later.
I'm about 10 hours into Rage. I put it down while I was playing Bioshock, and I picked it back up, and I still kind of like it.
Yeah, I
Rage
liked
is a
it.
fine game.
I just wish it had like
That
okay.
game had a freaking
Content.
awesome
It's got-
shotgun.
it's got this
Did have a good shotgun.
world that they could expand a whole lot on.
I think a lot of
If-
people need
I
to
think
learn
you're
from
expecting too much out of
a
Yeah.
kid's
and I-
game.
But if they could get some way to write a much better story, I think that if they made a
I
second,
think you're expecting too much out of
Id
Were they
Software.
again?
Yeah.
they just
not
want
known
to
for
I
a good
come-
story.
show it off.
I come from that game from a weird perspective because it's the first time I've ever played an id game. But I also think to a weird extent,
Jesus.
like,
Really?
I think a lot of the... Yeah, I was never a PC guy when id was like a thing. I never got into Quake 3. It was just something that completely passed me by. I think it's also interesting to come back to this game now because I get the impression certainly that when that game was new, like expectations for it had gotten a little bit out of whack, and so a lot of people ended up being really disappointed in what it turned out to be. To actually play it for what it is now, I think maybe I have a little bit more of a positive expectation, sort of a positive reaction without sort of it being crushed by the weight of expectation. I don't know how true that is, but it sort of is a sense I get from hearing other people talk about Rage.
Here's the attitude I went into Rage with. I just bought a brand new gaming PC. I hear Rage is really pretty. Let's check it out. It's
It is.
fine.
And then all
It's got
the bugs.
It's got John Goodman in it, and I played it, and I'm like, this control's fine. It looks good. I like everything about it, except for the part that it's just really boring, and I don't want to
Yeah.
keep playing.
It is really
and
boring.
That's exactly how I
it's-
felt about it. The like moment to moment combat was kind of exciting. The death animations, just the animations in general, are some of the best in games. But like
Absolutely outstanding animation.
I don't
the
like driving.
yeah, I was about to say the kart racing that doesn't need to be in
It feels
there.
like one of those games that's open world for no particular reason.
Yeah,
I wonder-
Yeah.
Well, I
it's
mean, it
kinda-
was-
it's one of those games where they've got like a central hub that sort of connects the places together, and you drive around in that and shoot bandits, and that's
Yeah, but just
not
to go to different
particular-
areas and race a bit.
it's
I
not
guess, but
particular. It's not
It's
particularly.
not a very
fun, and
exciting open world. Is what I mean.
It doesn't have a
Yeah.
great reason. It doesn't have a great reason to exist. I agree.
Well,
They need
not
to
just if it was more linear, then I think that people would have liked it more. But just having this
Oh,
open
it's
world,
it's completely linear.
I mean, just no
Yeah.
open world, just going from level to level and just shooting stuff. I think it would have been better received.
And
or
it has that.
Personally,
Bethesda writes Bethesda writes the next Fallout. And they just let id do the combat and mechanics and stuff.
that's
That would be
impossible
great.
to do.
That's not gonna
It's
happen.
impossible.
But that would be amazing.
That game
isn't
that
that
game
good
would
at
never
You can't.
come out.
You either have Skyrim with shitty Well, you can have Dragon's Dogma, I guess, but
The combat in
excellent
Skyrim was
combat.
fine.
it was. It's fine, but I think it could be done better. Certainly,
Yeah.
Rage,
Shotgun in
it's fine.
pretty amazing.
It's okay.
Rage is fine. I don't know why you're
There's
talking
some-
about it so long, but
Yeah, there's some good stuff kind of tucked inside it, but as a game, I was not a fan.
yeah.
Again,
The ending particularly is pretty terrible.
Oh
I don't-
yeah.
I didn't-
that was
Yeah, I
pretty
hate
sad.
the ending.
All right.
It's
And,
it's pretty.
Yeah, you can spoil it. I'm not gonna play it.
Yeah,
John
you saved
Goodman
it
is the
for-
last boss.
God damn it!
Yeah.
I can't kill John Goodman.
But not in character. He's just John Goodman as himself.
He's John Goodman's character from
John-
Flight, the drug dealer.
No, he's John Goodman from.
Roseanne.
Ugh. I'd kill John Goodman from Roseanne. I'd be fine with that.
I think everyone would.
Yeah.
I'd kill Roseanne.
I would
Roseanne
kill
was
John
kind of
Goodman in The Big Lebowski.
Do not interpret that as
No.
a political statement. I do not want to. Roseanne is
Why
fine.
would you want to kill Walter?
Yeah, it's messed up.
I don't know. I didn't really like that film that much.
Do you
I know
see
that
what
makes me a bad
happens?
person.
Do you see what
Yeah, I
happens?
know that.
Atlas.
I know
have
that
not-
makes me. a
I
bad
like.
person.
Have you ever seen the TV edit of that one?
Yes.
Oh my
Do you see what
god.
happens when you find a stranger in the Alps?
What did the guy that owned the car say again?
Uh,
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, that movie was so
Okay, so the other game you mentioned, Persona 3. Have you been following Video Game King journaling his trip through Persona 3?
Yeah, I'm
He-
still ahead of him, but I think he's gonna pass me pretty quickly. Like,
He is
I got-
truly our most valuable community member, isn't he?
yeah,
His
it's
ability
pretty
to his ability to caption
Biff
a
is up
million
there, sure.
photos is.
Yeah.
second
How does he
to none.
get through that game so fast? Like, I got through it to where I am because I
Does
played it
Atlas
over
do
my
anything
spring
besides
break.
Play video games.
Like when you're the king on the moon, like what else are you gonna do? Like interact socially with people?
I
Like,
mean,
no, because
actually
Maybe.
do anything.
I don't know. Isn't there other? What is he? A Lunarian? I can't remember what race exactly.
yeah, he's Lunarian.
Lunarian. Yeah.
Lunatic.
Ha,
Oh.
all right.
There you
Get
go.
out.
So Persona 3.
That game has
We talked about missed opportunities and lack of like a missed opportunity, and that's just about the biggest thing I have with Persona 3 is that I wish they would have waited to release it on the Vita, because the fact that Persona 3 Portable exists, you guys aren't the people to have that conversation with, but I hate that game.
it's fine.
No,
It's the whole. It's not that bad. You lose the running. I went back to the PS3 version, just so I could run around, and that's actually a pretty good reason to play FES. But the whole thing where all your teammates are automatic really bugs me at times.
Yeah, that was terrible for me when I was playing it.
that is the
PS3
big
It's
version.
not-
complaint,
it's not
and
that-
I liked it. I thought it was
Also
just
has a
fine.
ton of bugs. You lose your save a lot.
I haven't experienced that. All I've experienced is sometimes he'll be walking and he'll just start spinning in place. I have to let go of the analog stick, but that's never a problem. That's never been a problem in dungeons. It only happens in the regular world.
That's weird. I don't know. I just played it for the first time this year, and it quickly became one of my favorite games ever. And if you're ever down to talk about that, I will.
I think it's okay. I don't really like it a lot.
Judging by your avatar, I'm guessing you liked Persona 4 more.
I feel like
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
watching.
What's Persona 4?
I've been watching the endurance run, and I think Persona 3 is actually a little bit better written than Persona 4 because the fourth game is so repetitive.
Indeed, I'm in
So,
the camp,
you're
which I
going to
guess
be,
we're in
like,
the minority, but I like Persona 3 Fest.
Crucified.
I just don't like
Yeah,
any of the
not the
characters in
Giantbomb
Persona
now.
3 a lot.
Come at me, Jeff.
Now, again, I also don't like many of the Persona 4 characters that I'm seeing
Yeah.
that are.
That's insane.
Anyone playing anything else?
I played Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I played
that's
Proteus.
You want to talk
I
about
played-
Tomb Raider?
I played Tomb Raider. I'll talk to you about Tomb Raider. I like
Yeah.
Tomb Raider.
That's a pretty great game. Just
You
gonna
wrote
say.
a
It really
you wrote a
is.
good review, Matt. I read the whole thing, and then I wrote this big thing and like kind of arguing with you about it, which you didn't actually respond to. Probably for the best. But it's just my particular writing style is when I see someone like complaining, not complaining, but you just pointing stuff out. I'll jump on and play devil's advocate with stuff, and that's just kind of what I like
I'm gonna
to
go
do.
back to that and talk about it more. But I just like responding like, oh, it's a good game too.
Yeah.
I'll
A
go back.
lot of collectibles in that game.
Yeah.
A lot.
But I'm one of those guys that doesn't really care about collectibles. So I
Yeah,
was like,
Good.
do any
You
of that
probably would
either.
enjoy that
I-
game more.
I usually don't care about collectibles unless they're story related,
yeah.
and a lot of them are in that game.
Or if they're old, just back down. I don't care about.
Robot voice.
Robot man,
Am I a robot?
you're pretty
For now.
right now.
You're breaking character here, man.
Am I a robot?
Humans aren't supposed to know.
Sorry, guys. Am I still a robot?
No, you're not. A
No,
robot.
you're good.
Uh,
Yeah, I really like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, it's a solid action game.
I think it's a better than solid action game. I think it's at times it's at times it's a little bit better than the Uncharted games.
I love.
There's a much more like visceral, like
gruesome feel to that game, and I know
like actiony, like a much it's much more visceral. Like you feel like you're moving faster and hitting harder and
The
and all that
exploration,
kind of
I
stuff
think,
in
is
the game.
more fun. Like the rope arrow, I think is actually really great idea. If Uncharted had something like that,
Yeah.
you can
Is it a whole lot
latch onto
like-
walls and stuff.
Is it a whole lot like Uncharted?
It's
I
not
don't
as
think so.
much. Yeah, it's
I
not
don't
as
think
much
compared
like
to that great.
Uncharted as I think people
Okay.
maybe expected it.
Just
to
there's
be.
some scenes where you're running against a camera and stuff like that.
But that's like
interesting.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, that's Crash. I don't know if.
But I
anybody
mean,
knows.
like
didn't.
those action scenes, like where
It's
you're
Naughty
running
Dog
across
game.
buildings and then stuff explodes, and Uncharted kind of did that really well.
There's a great scene on a bridge with a sniper.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
That's a pretty good sequence.
there's
That's a
good
great sequence.
2-hour sequence in that game where everything is blowing up constantly.
Roth.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
It's a scene from The Descent.
And also just freaking awesome shotgun in that game.
Yeah, that shotgun's really good.
The
It-
melee kills are brutal.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal.
I used the
I-
shotgun the whole game, and also in Bioshock. We didn't talk about this. What weapons did you guys use in Bioshock? I stuck with the pistol and the shotgun for the most part,
I
actually.
tried to stick with the
I've-
shotgun as much as possible.
I used
I like the carbine.
I used
Yeah, I used
I
the
used the
I used
shotgun.
all the rifles, the carbine, the repeater, the burst gun.
I didn't like that stuff at all.
I liked
I like
all-
the carbine and the hand cannon a lot.
I
yeah,
thought
the hand
carbine.
cannon they used was really
Yeah,
good.
hand cannon was
Done.
good.
Yeah.
I like the sniper rifle.
I
think
ran out of
did-
ammo with the hand cannon.
I think I did
Which
the
figures
weird
did you use?
I love
Oh,
the
throws all the time, but
botanical one. What was it called? The
I hated
Undertow.
some.
Undertow.
I love that
Under-
thing.
Undertow was gross.
Yeah.
I used the possession one a lot.
Yeah, possession was fun too.
Yeah,
I used
Possess-
crows a
possession.
lot.
Okay.
Possession
I didn't
was my
use
go-to
crows a
for
lot. I
those.
didn't really like.
Yeah, I didn't.
I used
Fireball.
I used the electricity one for all
Devil's Kiss.
the Patriots.
Electricity,
my-
the added bonus of electrocuting people close to it is really effective.
Yeah, the undertow though, man. You grab onto a patriot, shoot him in the gears. You grab onto a handyman, you shoot him in the heart. I mean, I
I just don't like being an octopus. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
You
You
know
know
what
when
was
you
my
drink
favorite?
when you first
The,
drink the
The
tonics
Magnum one.
and your hands mess up. Which was the grossest one of those?
Oh, Undertow.
Crows.
Yeah.
Yeah, Undertow, I
Undertow
think.
was pretty
Undertow,
messed
yeah.
up.
Bucking Bronco's pretty close up there.
Stupid
Where's
I
serious.
don't
hand
actually. I
kinda
don't. I don't know
turns
if it's
into
just because
blood
I
or
didn't
whatever.
find enough scenarios to use Bucking Bronco effectively. I
I,
don't really remember ever using that and thinking, well, that was obviously the right way to
yeah,
clear
I
out that
tried. I
guy.
never.
It's
Fi- I
too
could.
much.
I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do with Bucking Bronco.
Maybe
either.
if you use like a
Those guys
one-hit
kind
kill
of
weapon.
covered, where you like launch them up in the air, then you just shoot them down.
The heat wave was a terrible gun.
And then, what was it? I actually use it pretty well on a lot. You use the Bucking Bronco to launch them in the air, then you throw the Devil's Kiss at them, and they all just catch on fire. And then I'd hit them with a Murder of Crows, and then they'd all be distracted while on fire, and then I just take them out.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
they're
mean, I
floating,
think
burning and getting eaten by crows.
we're
Yeah.
going back into Bioshock talk now, but I mean, I think that was like the whole point with only giving you two two weapons and two like tonics that you could flip back and forth between, was like they were trying to encourage you to figure out like the combinations of the two vigors, and like that was supposed to be like their play on combat in this one.
Did you lay traps ever?
I didn't. I did not lay
No,
traps,
never
no,
traps.
except for the fireball one.
Well, if you fireball one, you could just use as an offensive, anyways.
Yeah.
That's if you want to say the original Bioshock was better at something, the plasmid introductions are. Is that what they're called?
Dude, yes, absolutely.
Also, lighting a person on fire by snapping my fingers is infinitely better than just throwing a fireball at them.
Yeah.
I actually had this weird thing with it. I don't really feel like I've actually suffered from the limitation on how many vigors you could have equipped at one time, because playing on the PC, you just hit a mouse, you just hit they were bound to the numbers.
Yep.
So I didn't actually find a limitation.
I didn't have that much problem with the whole toolbar. It just froze the game, and then you switched to whatever you needed, and then you shot it.
Yeah,
sure.
I actually you can just hold down Q and get the same toolbar that the console versions have, which is what I used.
I literally never used that because I was just using. I didn't know that was in there until I watched footage of someone else playing it. It was so weird.
Well, I actually have I actually have a little bit of an issue reaching 1 through 9 with my fingers on the keyboard, so I never use those for switching between things.
Got to get that dex stat up, man.
That's right.
I mean, I can use it for Battlefield, but
yeah, if we want to go back to talking about Tomb Raider, I'll say that I haven't actually seen a particularly good reason for me to not just buy this game when it becomes cheap on Steam. I don't know why. I don't tend to go out of my way to play a lot of the big third-person action games, and I still haven't played Uncharted, so I kind of would probably go back.
You can skip it.
Yeah. It depends how much time you want to spend finding collectibles, because if you look for the collectibles, you'll be in there for a while.
Yeah,
I can certainly live without finding all the collectibles. I didn't even get all the all the sort of the little videos from Assassin's Creed 2. You go around the environment and you find where they I never actually found those.
I think I did that. I think I got all the feathers and everything.
I certainly never found all the feathers. I didn't even get close to that, because fuck that shit.
Hey, guess what? Your mom wakes up from a coma.
Right.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I'm sorry I spoiled this 4-year-old game.
I don't mean to imply that Tomb Raider is not a quality product. I mean, pretty much the only thing I have to say about Tomb Raider is just that I was absolutely disgusted to hear that same game sold 3.4 million copies, and yet Square Enix still seems to have ruled it as a disappointment. I mean, what the hell did they think that game was going to do?
Square Enix have been ingesting a large amount of peyote, apparently, because they don't seem to be operating in the way video games work in the year 2013 anymore. I don't know.
It's so crazy.
I don't know what they go into any project thinking anymore. I mean, they churned out, I don't know how many Final Fantasy games over the course of like 5 or 6 years, and they can't figure out how to get they can't figure out what to do with that franchise. I mean, it's amazing to me how they can both at once release 1 million games in a franchise and completely have no idea what to do with it.
You know what? Maybe E3 will roll around, and then they'll show a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, and they'll show a trailer for Final Fantasy 15, and then it'll all be okay.
Final Fantasy
and those games will have a expected release date of 2025.
Holiday 2013.
I don't want to play another Kingdom Hearts game.
I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, and I'm fine with that. I've never played a single Final Fantasy game, and I'm fine with that as well.
You know what? I want to play another one.
I played the first one.
Frickin' Just Cause 2.
Yes, we need a third one.
Just Cause 2.
I need.
Yeah,
Just Cause 2. Just Cause X2.
I still need to play Just Cause 2.
Rico is going to be in a J-pop girl group.
I wouldn't be as crazy as Saints Row the Third is, though.
I still haven't played Saints.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
You guys are just running off this nice little list of games that Atlas hasn't actually gotten around to touching yet.
You can skip Saints Row the Third as well.
What?
I didn't like Saints Row the Third. I didn't think it was that funny.
Saints Row the Third, maybe that should be another game about American exceptionalism. Like if you
I'm on board now.
Yeah.
Saints Row the
Well, you are the
Fourth,
president.
Yeah,
Next one, apparently.
Saints Row the 4 may even be more of that. No, Saints Row the Third might be a good example of modern American exceptionalism.
Haven't played it.
So dumb. It's great.
It is. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a really like gorgeous looking game. That
Oh,
first
yeah.
environment that you walk through is really pretty impressive.
Yeah, I have it on the PC version, and I'm pretty I'm pretty happy that I ended up with that one because it sounds like the console version's not so much
Oh, it's no.
frame rate issues.
On Saints Row the Third?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I played it
How did
on console and it's fine.
It's fun on console.
I beat it on
How did
console. It's not that bad.
How did everybody do with Bioshock Infinite, by the way? Because I had some frame rate issues when we got a larger mob of guys, and sometimes that
You
game
didn't
just
have it
ran
on,
absolutely smoothly.
Lock frame rate.
I had it on locked frame rate, yeah.
I
I
locked
had
it at 60, but I only played on high. My 480 is getting kind of old.
I have a
Yeah.
460 and I played it on medium.
I had a few frame rate issues here and there, but it was never anything bad enough to turn it down.
Right, me
Right.
too.
Don't get
I didn't want to get rid of those light shafts.
don't get
God, the
don't get me
lighting.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. On medium, that is still one of the most gorgeous games I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, I
Just
played it on
visually,
good art style.
it's absolutely spellbinding. Just it's sensational. Just the imagery is special and colorful. Like I saw Brad
Special
Shoemaker
place in my
tweeting
heart.
about how Brad Shoemaker was tweeting about how the opening to that game makes him optimistic for a video game future that isn't entirely brown.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
that's
then
that's
the
so
end of
right
that
on.
game
'cause-
has-
But you know, the first one was all purples and greens and blues and it wasn't all brown.
Oh yeah,
Neon. lots of
irrational.
neon.
Yeah.
Irrational definitely tend to go a little bit more colourful than some of their contemporaries. You can certainly give them that much. I'm not saying that they're the only people making sort of AAA action games in the West who go for colour. Because I think Borderlands 2 was a fairly colourful game. There are other issues with Borderlands 2.
Halo.
But,
Halo.
Yeah,
4.
Halo
and
at
of course-
times
and of course
looked that
Halo.
way. I mean,
Yeah.
really, Saints Row is really very colorful.
Gears of War 3. Very, very colorful.
Yeah, that surprised me. The end area of that game is gorgeous and it's really colorful.
Uncharted, the end of Uncharted 2 is really
And then there's
colorful
a
and pretty.
filter in Uncharted 2 where you can play modern
Yeah.
game design.
There is. That was a nice little.
You know what? To me, this whole brown shooter thing is it's really an issue only if you're playing those games. I haven't
exactly.
Yeah.
played a Call of
Yeah.
Duty since the first Black Ops. And
Even Call of
played,
Duty's not really
Medium.
brown.
those are
No, not
I
really.
mean, I
what are brown games? Are we talking about Army of Two? Is Army of Two a brown
Whoa.
game?
It-
I don't.
Brown
Well,
games
Are we getting
brown
racist?
games
Fallout.
seem to be
Fallout.
yeah.
yeah, Fallout.
No, Fallout was
I
more-
love-
Brown
I
games seem
love
to be a
Fallout.
holdover from where shooters were like in the 2005 to 2009-ish era. A lot of shooters coming out then were pretty brown. Like the Resistance 1 and 2 to a good extent
Yeah,
was pretty
right.
brown.
It's all in
Um,
an attempt to be gritty and realistic and
Yeah, and
that
it-
guy's
there
head
was-
off and it's so real.
It's
Kinda-
maybe
We're
a
kind of
little
over
bit
that though,
forgivable
right?
early.
I,
It's maybe a
I-
little bit forgivable
yeah.
early on in the generation if you want to talk about games
Well, I
like
mean,
Resistance, but it's
It was
it's
also
still
an
happening.
issue
Like,
of,
we talk
of
about,
the. It was also an issue of the tech. Like they had the ability to do like really subtle lighting effects, and they could like change how light would look different if there was dust in the air, and like it would look
Yeah.
different in dusty buildings. And was it high dynamic range lighting, HDR lighting, like when you look out of a door and it's really bright outside, there's like that light bloom.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot of it was a showcase for new tech that they had at the beginning of the generation. too.
at the time, Fallout 3 was a technical tour de force. It was just not that colorful,
I wouldn't say it was a technical.
which is
third
fine
force.
because
Yeah,
it
those
was
games
which is fine
big.
because that's fine because it was the apocalypse to a certain
It also
extent.
had the greatest door in the history of video games, the "fuck you" door.
That game never struck me as particularly good looking. Fallout games. I mean, they're fine looking. It just never looked at it and said that's
fine
pretty.
looking. They look okay. I mean, for
Yeah.
what they're
People
trying to
look
do,
weird.
but I mean, they're not like amazing or anything. Granted, and also don't think that's a slight against Fallout 3 because this is a man who has played about 1,000 hours of both Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
It's one of the few games I actually went out of my way to S rank on Xbox, and like including all of the DLC they put out for it, like every single
Exactly.
one. I went around and collected
I
all
don't-
100 iron ingots for no reason at all.
Yeah,
I don't like Fallout 3. I've tried like 5 times to play it. I don't care for that game. I don't think it's a good
That's
game.
I also, but you know what? I will fight people about this. New Vegas is one of the greatest games ever made. It is buggy as
It
hell,
does have
Yeah.
Wayne Newton in it.
but it is one of the greatest games ever made.
It gets points for having Wayne Newton. I don't think that the writing is very is
That's the
good
best
in a
part
way
about
that
it.
but it's not though. I think I mentioned this last week. That first
Last-
or last whenever that first area when you have to go rescue that kid from that vampire cult in the subways or whatever, you have like a million different dialogue options and they're all
Yeah, but
really
that's-
smart and they're all really clever, and you rescue the kid, and if you go back and talk to that guy, the very next dialogue option you have is, I am interested in becoming a vampire, without a hint of irony or
You're talking about
snark
3
or,
or
Yeah, but you're talking
yeah, I'm
about
talking
New
about
Vegas.
Fallout 3.
New Vegas was like
yeah, New Vegas
much
had much better writing.
Yeah,
No,
And
I
New
haven't
Vegas
played
also
it.
had the problem of, and New Vegas, however, did also have the problem of being, for me at least, unfinishable.
well, it was incredibly buggy. I mean, I couldn't even like
Yeah.
end the game with the faction that I chose. I had to like go down the middle. But I mean, still, like I absolutely loved that game. That was one of the very few games in my entire life. Granted, I was on pain medication from getting my wisdom teeth pulled, but there was a moment in that game where I felt like that perfect moment of immersion. You know?
You know,
I don't
Where-
remember ever having that. And I played Fallout New Vegas last month, and I put a good about 55 hours into it, and absolutely loved it. For the majority of the week, it got me back into that Fallout style of scavenge everything, and the shooting's not great, but I can live with that. But yeah, like you specifically said, like I was
Well, it's
trying to
not
sort
a
of go
shooter.
fairly
I
down.
mean,
Well, I know, but you are. It does, just from a perspective, a layman would look at that and think, oh, it's like the Call of Duty. You have a gun in front of your face.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
No,
But,
I know.
yeah,
I know.
like you say,
I
like-
just think that was a mistake to make it look so much like a shooter, because
Yeah,
to
I
play that
think
game
it-
like a shooter is just a terrible idea.
Well, New Vegas is a little better with that.
The alternative is to have. The alternative is to have a third-person view game, and we've all seen how exceptional Bethesda animates third-person camera.
They got a little better with it in
Well-
Skyrim, but
Yeah,
Yeah, Skyrim
it
is
got
alright.
a little better.
it's
and
never
stuff,
going
a
to be
little
the
better.
ideal way to play.
no.
Well, as kind of bland as New Vegas's combat can be sometimes, get the bloody mess perk, because that makes it a
Yeah.
good bit better in a really
I
in a
I
psychopathic
pick the bloody
sort of
mess
way.
perk.
It's
I
the first
pick
one.
the bloody mess perk. I pick it every time I play a Fallout game without fail.
I
Also,
don't know, man. I just don't. There's just something about the writing and what that game like seems to want to be, and it just doesn't. It doesn't execute on it the way I think it
I'll
needs
agree
to.
with you on that. In Fallout 3, it tries to be way too hard to be like super serious in this gritty post-apocalyptic story, but like New Vegas kind of goes back to the old school Fallout, like kind of.
It had some humor to it.
Well, a lot of humor to it. The game was pretty much just parody all the way through.
Well, Wayne Newton's in it. I mean, that's good for 10 laughs right there.
Yeah, but
I don't know who Wayne Newton is. Does that make me a bad person?
Nah, I don't know either.
No, not really. No.
I don't either.
I don't know. I really like New Vegas, as evidenced.
I was too burned out. I played so much Fallout 3, I didn't feel like doing it again, which I might eventually, or maybe I'll just wait for Fallout 4.
I think that's exactly why I bought Fallout New Vegas the day it was released in 2010 and didn't play it until February 2013. Because by that point, I think I was ready for more Fallout,
Right.
and
Which-
I'd gotten over playing 200 hours of Skyrim. So
That honestly doesn't happen to me that much, but what's the point where you guys get burned out on games? We were talking to a guy last night who he said I'm not gonna play Bioshock Infinite because I'm just too burned out on shooters, and my response was, it's not your standard Western first person shooter, man. You should go for it. But do you guys ever get burned out on stuff?
Yeah.
it's funny. I actually had this moment of thought of playing Rage like before Bioshock Infinite came out and thinking, is this going to ruin my enjoyment of Bioshock Infinite? The fact that I've played this completely different style of first-person shooter directly before going into it. It didn't really. I don't think it actually made any difference. I think my burnout limit is that I just hate the notion of annual franchises. But
Mhm.
I burnt out on the Assassin's Creed series for exactly that reason. But I think I might be able to.
I'm really weird in that regard. I don't really
Yeah.
care that much. like I will get burnt out on a game if the story is bad. Like I can play shooter after shooter after shooter as long as the story is engaging enough for me to actually play it.
So you don't play many shooters then?
Not really.
I mean, that was kind of my motivation of really why I wanted to pick up Tomb Raider, was because I just wanted to play something that was not a first-person shooter. Just like anything that's not a first-person shooter, and Tomb Raider was like new and it was current, and like there's a lot of FPSs nowadays.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of them.
I've pretty much completely rebounded from. I played pretty much just shooters from the time I got my 360 to like 2010 or 11, and I pretty much just rebounded away from shooters to JRPGs this past year. That's all I've been playing, except for the occasional.
It's like switching
Bioshock.
from alcohol to heroin.
Tell me about switching from
So-
alcohol to heroin.
One's much longer and more self-abusive. You can one you can do
And
one
the
you
other
can
one's
do.
alcohol.
Yeah, well, no, one you can do socially, and one you have to lock yourself in your bedroom for months at a time.
Yeah, heroin you can do socially.
Yeah, there you go.
The scene in season 2 of Breaking Bad. Has everyone seen Breaking Bad?
Absolutely.
Not really, but I don't care.
No, I've never seen it.
I'm up to. I finished season 2 the other week, and just the scene where Jesse takes heroin and just sort of floats above the world is just, that was magical.
Does it make you want to do heroin?
That show is pretty good.
A little bit.
I know a guy if you want some.
All right, yeah. Put it in the chat.
Yeah, no problem.
Whatever, guys. I'm straight edge.
The sad thing is I actually do know a guy that get you some heroin. If you're
I was just kidding. Christ.
Yeah, well, I live in like the pill capital of the world, so. Full of youths, so.
Akbar, can you turn up your mic a little bit? Because you're a little quiet.
Hold on, is this better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Sorry, it kind of just drifted away from my face.
So about Assassin's Creed you mentioned earlier, I did the thing our own Mr. Shoemaker was doing, but I never got burnt out on them. I blitzed through the first one, I blitzed through Assassin's Creed 2, I played Revelations, or Brotherhood, and then I jumped into Revelations, and I played through all of them and loved them all, and then I played Assassin's Creed 3 and just couldn't deal with it. It was not because I was burned out on the formula, it was because it was just so goddamn boring.
Yeah,
I burned out
I've
about
actually,
20 minutes in.
so much crap to do in Assassin's Creed 3. Like, you talk about collectibles in Tomb Raider. There are collectibles for collectibles in Assassin's Creed 3.
And now all this Assassin's Creed 4 news is coming out, and I wish I could be as excited about that franchise as I used to be, but I just can't. I haven't even watched the trailers for it because I just don't care.
The arc of that franchise is really interesting to me because it started out as being like, this was going to be one of the pillars of the next gen, and it was like they had E3 press conferences, and the story was going to take all these chances and setting it in like the Middle Ages and in Damascus and everything. It was going to be cool, and the first game came out, and it was like, ugh. And then it like rebounded, and then like by the time Brotherhood came out, people were like, "Yeah, this is a really good game. This is a really
I would
good
say
game."
even two was fantastic.
It was. But
think
what I'm
you
saying
have
is, by the time Brotherhood came out, it was like it was a good game, but people didn't care anymore. It didn't have that cachet thing that it did. And now it's gone back to being a terrible game, but everyone wants to talk about how terrible it is. Like, it's a really interesting way that the press and the media have kind of talked about this game.
Well,
this franchise.
It's kind of like your diva scenario, where you have like your freaking Lindsay Lohan, you present her out, and she's all right the first time around. Then she does like one good movie, and everyone loves her. It's like, oh yeah, she's like the next up and coming starlet or whatever. And then all that fame.
Lindsay Lohan has done a good movie, but
apparently everyone really likes that one movie, the Mean Girls or whatever.
This isn't Lindsay Lohan cast. I could do a whole podcast about that. And God willing, someday I will. But this is. But go ahead.
But the point I'm making is that you get this point where you just pump so much attention onto this one thing, just set the expectation so high for something. Eventually, either due to the fault of the thing itself, or the expectations you set for itself, the thing has nothing to do but crash and burn.
But I mean, the first one crashed and burned, but then it like took flight again. Like in the case of Assassin's Creed, like it got much better. But like it lost the kind of the cool factor of it.
Oh, okay. I'm making a list here. If inevitably we're gonna end up doing a defending your game segment, and so far I've got Mario Sunshine. I'm adding Assassin's Creed 1 to that list because I love that game.
Oh God! Sit on a bench simulator.
I think a lot of people have a very warped perspective on Assassin's Creed 1. I think that game was actually much more appreciated at the time than people today give it credit for. I liked that game at the time. I didn't.
A lot of people really liked it at the time, but I think a lot of people liked it because they saw the potential as opposed to what it really was.
And still, the environments were
true.
cool. The storytelling was cool. The story wasn't, but the storytelling was really cool.
The world
I'm
fantastic.
I'm a massive history nerd, and I just was so glad that a game was set in the middle during the era of the Crusades in the Middle East. I thought that was a fantastic decision.
And who would have thought that
great
a game would come out in Renaissance Italy? You know,
brilliant idea.
All three of these locations were unique, and I loved them. But it's just
and then like American Revolution, and then everyone's like, because everyone knows what the American Revolution is, so everyone's a full hog on board with that. One's like, oh yeah, the American Revolution. We're gonna hang out with like John Adams and everything.
Well, it's just that. First of all, there's not a lot of games. What was that Super Nintendo strategy game? It was a Koei game. It was like Romance of the Three Kingdoms, but it was starring George Washington.
That sounds amazing. Let's go Google this.
What was it? Not Gods and Generals.
You're making that up.
No, I swear to God, it's a Super Nintendo Koei. I'm pretty sure it's Koei. Strategy game, American Revolution.
Super Nintendo games published by Koei. Aerobiz, Brandish, Gemfire, Genghis Khan, Liberty or Death.
There you go. That's what it is. Liberty or Death.
Oh, I thought we were just gonna start listing off historical figures.
No, they also did a Nobunaga one. No, yeah, Liberty or Death. It was. It's basically Romance of the Three Kingdoms with George Washington. You'll play it.
Here it is. There's a link. It's a Genesis game, or at least I think it is.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Super Nintendo. But anyway, it's just that's such a cool setting. It's such a cool idea for a setting. Because there's so much going on, and there's spy stuff and all kinds of cool stuff. It's just a shame that game seems to have completely whiffed on every possible mark.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that game needs more American exceptionalism.
Right.
It actually does.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could.
A lot of
It
patriotism,
blows.
they didn't play it up hard enough for me. And then they didn't play up the patriotism for the British side either. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how weird that game would have been for me as a British person, killing redcoats.
Fine. No, you kill patriots too. Don't worry about it.
So how were all those World War II shooters to Germans?
That's a good question. We need to get a German.
I don't.
Hey, you know what? The Germans.
I think a lot of them aren't even released over there, or they have to be so.
They're released and everybody's a robot or something.
Yeah, they're all
like
zombies.
or something. Yeah. But again, they brought it on themselves. They let it happen, man.
Whatever. They're too busy playing Farming Simulator anyway.
Yeah. So who came out ahead in that one?
Yeah.
If we ever have to start another war about farming, Germany is going to be hard to beat.
I've word that Atlas's cat has escaped.
Right. No, we should be reading this chat out loud. That's the way the best podcasts work. Atlas's cat got away. He'll be back in a second. Fat Mac apparently.
Our host has left us.
All right. Well, let's see. I played
or lean in.
What'd you play?
I played Proteus last week.
I don't know what that is. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
It is a game. Might be a bit of a stretch. You build this procedurally generated world. It's kind of like a slightly lower res version of Minecraft. And you basically just walk around in this world and experience what goes on. And sometimes there's like sheep and goats, and sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's meteor showers, sometimes there's not. And as you walk around this world, the different like parts of land, like grass and flowers and trees and stuff, they alter. It's all kind of ambient, amelodic sound and music. But as you walk over these different like parts of the land and everything, it changes the way it changes the music you're hearing, and it changes the sound and everything. And it's a really great way of, in video games, you can't really like stop and smell the roses, like literally, or like feel a gentle breeze or something.
Yeah.
And this is a really great way of cueing you into the environment in a really subtle, like intuitive, subtle way. And I really think in a couple years you're going to be seeing the phrase "like in Proteus" in a lot of reviews, because I think there's a lot of things that games can learn from Proteus about the way to make your environment feel more real and feel more tangible and tactile.
All right.
There's not really any game to play. You're just walking around and existing, and sometimes I think that's really cool.
That's deep, man.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's really cool. But yeah, Proteus. Somebody should take a look at Proteus.
I'm looking at some footage now. It looks like a game I want to sit down and play when I get home from work when I don't feel like playing a game.
Yeah, I think basically one, like there is an end to it. I mean, there is a point where like that game or that story or that island ends. I think it's like 45 minutes or something like that. And sometimes something really exciting will happen and sometimes it won't, but it's about just experiencing this world for a period of time and then it ends.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, you should guys check it out.
I'll definitely check it out. Speaking of which, would this be a good time to mention the book club?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. So what we're hoping to do is get some people to play some games that they usually wouldn't be playing and then talk about them. So hopefully we'll probably open up a forum thread or you'll email in your responses or what you think about the game, and then we'll have a discussion at the end of each month about the game that we chose. And that's open to the people, and we'll discuss them. And I think Proteus sounds like a pretty good start. To me,
sure.
Sounds interesting.
What is it for, and how much
PC,
is it?
I think it's less than $10. I'm pretty sure it's on Steam. I played it on my friend's computer. Pretty sure it's on Steam, and I'm pretty sure it's less than $10.
Yep, it's right here. It's $9.99. It's on Steam. Steam Play. So if you have a Mac, you can play that too.
What about Linux?
Oh, fuck you.
What about Linux?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, what about it?
You can play Team Fortress 2, apparently.
No, I just have it on my laptop.
And hey, if you've got Linux, you can play Crusader Kings 2, so you're pretty much set.
Not on my laptop, I can't.
So
yeah, actually, that game runs like shit on my laptop as well. My laptop's a year old, so.
I'm gonna talk about. I played it. I've been playing. I've been on a vision quest, and I have been playing every single God of War game ever released.
Oh God,
you poor soul.
I did that like a year ago, except I obviously not Ascension, but I played.
I didn't play Ascension. This is the reason why I'm doing this. I got like halfway through Ascension, and I was like, "Fuck this! I want to play a good God of War game."
It is. That is a. How far along are you?
Also, why?
Well, they're good games, but how in
Ascension?
No, in God of War. I mean,
one and two.
Vision Quest.
Okay, so I played Chains of Olympus, God of War 1, Ghost of Sparta, and I am halfway through God of War 2 right now.
All right, you playing on the PS3, all of them?
Yeah, I bought the
I'm playing with you.
collection.
Have you ever played a God of War game before, or is this your first time?
Oh no, yeah, I played all of them before, but I played 2 and 3, but.
Oh, so you're just playing God of War 1?
God of War 1, Chains of Olympus, and Ghost of Sparta for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the PSP ones, when I saw the quick look of that, looks great on the PS3.
They're all good games. You need to kind of take a breath after you play one.
Yeah,
at least
that's
I
what I was
found
gonna
out.
say.
Like they are intense, constant, except for this fucking spiked column at the end of God of War 1. But apart from that, they're an intense. Like you need to take a break and regroup after you play one.
Yeah, but at the same
time,
found
at least.
I found the opposite of that because of that game and the way those games are structured, where everything is happening all the time. There's never like a dull moment. It makes it really easy to transition into each game because then you just get this feeling of it's one long game that gets progressively better looking, but it just gets more and more fucked up in this great feeling of, hey, you know this Greek thing, like Atlantis, for example? Yeah, destroy it. You like Sphinxes? Yeah, kill it. How about Pegasus? Kill it. Titans? Kill it.
Yeah.
Gods? Kill it. Anything Greek? Kill it. Destroy it in horrible ways, and it's
the Greek economy, kill it. Oh wait, they already did.
Oh, topical. Yeah, it's pretty good. God, that part in 3 where is it Pegasus where you tear his head off and like
Helios,
yeah, where you tear his head off and then apart.
Yeah, the game is brutal. Jesus.
And then you like gouge Poseidon's eyes out.
Yeah, it is.
Poor Poseidon.
No, that boss fight was awesome though.
Yeah, and that boss fight of Kronos was spectacular.
Oh god,
Um,
but that was the worst one. The pulling the fingernail out. I don't know why. That was the worst.
Yeah. It's pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
I've never played a God of War game, so I have no sort of point
Me
of
either.
reference.
I
But
don't
I
have
do.
anything to add to this.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I would
I
say
do,
They're
however,
really good. They're really good.
I would
I
say
do
if you
own-
want to see how crazy they get, just play 3 because 3 is
When-
just the most.
I'd say start with 1. I like 1
Right,
the
well,
best.
how about
I
this?
have,
How
like,
about this?
beats.
When I bought my PS3, I bought the HD remakes for God of War 1 and 2, so I could go back and play those in HD, and then see how I sort of go with that, because I already own that, rather than go out and buy 3.
They look fine, by the way. Except it's weird. The in-game actually looks better than the cutscenes now.
Weird.
Huh?
That is weird.
Those games stand up really well graphically.
Yeah.
Too,
Yeah.
on the PS3.
Yeah, of course.
I think they like upscaled everything for the
Well, they-
collections.
They
Yeah, but-
definitely upscaled Kratos' model in every
Yeah.
single one. It's really obvious. But
Although I will ask you guys this: should I play the HD remakes of the first 2 God of War games, or should I play the HD remakes of Eco and Shadow of the Colossus?
Oh, Eco.
God of War.
God of War.
God of
God of
War. God of
Yeah.
War. Eco
Eco probably doesn't hold up that well.
Yeah, Eco has some interesting things, but you wail on those shadows with a stick for a real long time sometimes. The combat in Eco is really off-putting.
you can
to
unlock
me.
a lightsaber now, though, can't you? We got to beat the game like 7 times or something.
I never played
I
it
don't
that
know.
long
I don't
enough.
remember
I
that.
played it once.
About that.
There is some cool stuff in Eco.
I don't.
I don't. I play God of War.
I played
You'll
it
have more fun
recently.
with God of War.
If you can get that collection, I haven't played Eco. I played Shadow of the Colossus. That game is great. It's short. I love it, man. I just think
It's a
something
lot
most
better
people
than
should
Eco.
play.
Shadow of the
Can't-
Colossus.
better
is
than
a
Can't
lot
you
better
get
than
them?
Eco.
Can't you get them separately on PSN?
Oh yeah, you can totally buy Shadow of the Colossus.
But
by
I don't
itself.
think. I think they're just the PlayStation 2 ones. I don't think they're the. Are they the like
No, they're
redone,
they're
upscaled
redone.
ones?
Yeah, they're redone.
Okay.
I bought
Alright.
the.
I would hope
Shadow
so.
of the Colossus.
For $20.
Well,
Yeah,
hey,
that'd be
it's only on
that'd be pretty
PSN.
weird.
You never know. The Metal Gear Solid 1 is still completely unchanged.
They should have done an HD version of that, really.
Yeah, you should damn
Well, they
right
did.
should have
They
They
did?
did.
They sh-
They
Are
did.
you sure?
Yeah, they did.
on GameCube.
The
Oh.
GameCube
No.
was hardly HD.
No, they
Yeah,
did.
that was.
They did an HD remake of Metal Gear 1.
When,
Who's
right?
they? What are you talking about? Are you
wait,
talking about emulators?
wait, Metal Gear.
I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'm confused.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, this
was
just
the
got what.
entire back half of that game.
Oh,
It's-
yeah. That doesn't count.
No, it
It
doesn't.
can't count.
I have
think
have
it
never
counts.
played a single Metal Gear Solid game.
I have not either.
Play 4.
Great,
It's-
we should-
Why did I invite you
should- we
guys
should-
in the first place?
we
Jeez.
should-
Nice
we
homework.
we should
Metal Gear
hang out.
Solid.
And play 3 because there is
Yeah,
some
play
good stuff
3.
in 3. Yeah.
Yeah, if I was gonna play one, it would be 3 because I know 4 has several really
don't
really
know.
long cutscenes. I don't want to sit through that. I
All
think
Metal
3
Gear.
has
Dude,
one.
if
All
you
Metal
don't like
Gear
long
games have long
cutscenes,
cutscenes.
do not.
But does it
I'm
have
gonna
a
play
ton
the
of them?
first Metal Gear for not
Yes,
cutscenes.
every
One-
all
Speaking of Metal Gear,
Metal
would
Gear.
this be a good time to transition into things?
Into what?
Wow.
Things that are like, yeah, you know what? I'm
Akbar,
horrible
you're
at this.
really the master of
I,
transitions.
you know what? You
You're
guys,
the master of
wait.
unlocking and the master of transitions.
But
Did
wait,
you-
I played Crusader Kings 2 this week.
Right?
Alright.
you don't,
Who cares?
don't
You want
count.
to talk about that? I haven't played it.
You have
not-
3 minutes.
We,
you
I-
have 3 minutes.
Chop chop.
I can't talk about Crusader Kings 2 in 3 minutes. So at some point, if I want to spend more time going into it, maybe. All right, tell you what, I'll talk about Crusader Kings 2 when the last expansion for that game comes out, and then it will be something that's a little bit more relevant.
All right, look for that in 20 Never.
I'm pretty
Oh.
sure it says. I'm pretty sure they said summer. So maybe if we're still doing this, if I'm still doing this in July or something.
Way to have like great feeling for the podcast, you know?
Great
It's like,
expectations.
Yeah, come on, man.
if we're
We
gonna
gotta,
be
we
doing
gotta
this
keep
for
this
some-
going. Yeah,
Confidence.
momentum, man. I didn't really play anything else this week except for that I finished all the levels of Joe Danger on my iPod Touch, and that
That's the
game's
game.
pretty cool.
Anyone else has
Yeah.
been playing Luigi's Mansion 2? Just me?
No.
No, I
I'll
don't
get
know if
around
I
to
do.
it at some point.
There's
I'm
not-
gonna-
Still don't own a 3DS. So
There's not much more to say about it other than if you like Luigi's Mansion, you're gonna like Luigi's Mansion 2. It's pretty fun. The music is great. Yeah, that's about it. Watch the
do you
clip
guys
look
reckon you could
for-
go back? you guys reckon you could go back and play Luigi's Mansion today? Because I never beat
Yeah,
that game.
that holds up pretty well.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
I've never
I think it
played
does. I think it
It holds
does.
up
It's
I watched them.
it's a
I watched them play a
very
bit of it on
underrated game.
Unprofessional. I watched them play a little bit of it on Unprofessional Friday, and it actually looks still like a really good game.
That game is
Just in terms of,
legitimately one of my favorite games of the last generation. I played through it 4 or 5 times for reasons that would take me a long time to explain.
Are you a fan of Ghostbusters?
Yeah. It's like,
Sure,
I have never seen.
I didn't
I've
see
never seen a
Ghostbusters
film
until
Well,
after I
that
played
needs to
Luigi's
be.
Mansion.
You need to watch
What?
Jesus
Ghostbusters.
Christ,
just for
Matt.
why
yourself.
Have
are
you been
you
under a
even
rock
here?
for like? Jesus.
Are you a human being?
Are
You
an
need to
alien?
watch
Yeah.
Ghostbusters just for your own soul.
Yeah.
I've.
I don't
I
think I
think
can
it's
have you
maybe
back on
slight-
this podcast if you haven't watched Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but
I think it's maybe.
Don't
I
watch
think it's
Ghostbusters
maybe
2.
slightly weirder that I've. I think it's maybe slightly weirder that I've watched both of the Blade Runner random PC games, and I've never seen Blade Runner.
Oh my god.
That might be weird.
I like.
Have
the
you seen
voice
anything?
of Blade Runner better.
Social Network's a pretty good film.
Yeah, it is.
My movie
It's all right.
12 years.
No,
Seven
good movie.
Samurai is a good film.
Have you seen Back
So
to
I
the
saw Dread last night.
Yeah.
I want to see Dread.
Dread is awesome.
It's the Raid Redemption was a better movie. I didn't like.
Well,
It was. I mean, Dread is not a bad. It's a good action movie. It's just not. Nothing stood out to me as particularly memorable in it. But it was fine.
Dread is awesome. Don't listen to him. Watch Dread.
yeah, I want to see
Yeah,
Dread.
you should still probably watch it. Just not like. It's
That
not
is
like
one of
a
those movies that
amazing movie.
Make sure either no one else is in the house or people are okay with you blasting, because that movie is a movie you're meant to hear loud. You want to hear
Yes.
like the music like thumping inside of you, and like I don't know.
My family is pretty used to me thumping, I have to say.
Nice one, Alan.
Also, I think I've just worked out the film that's officially going to get me kicked off this podcast. I have never seen Pulp Fiction.
It's not.
You should watch Pulp Fiction.
You should watch Pulp Fiction, but that's not that bad.
It's fine.
All right,
Have you seen?
I misjudged the room.
It's.
I like
seen
this
Back to the
podcast is
Future?
turning into. Have you seen this movie?
Let's not go down this
I have
road.
never.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. I have never seen Back to the Future.
Okay, get the fuck
Now
out.
something.
Yeah,
Nah,
right.
that's it.
Now
Alice,
you've
I'm,
upset
I'm
me.
kicking you out. I'm kicking you out. All right, he's gone.
Well, whatever.
Hello?
Wait, did he put down his mic?
Did he actually leave?
Holy shit!
That's not. Well,
No, he's writing something.
No, I just psyched you guys out.
all right.
Okay, good.
Great Foley effect.
Anyone else been playing anything else?
I think that's it.
Occasionally, I'll
good.
play some Etrian Odyssey, but there's not much to talk about on that.
We've been talking about games we've been playing for about an hour.
Yeah, well, we're all just, hesitating going down the road we were planning to go down. We were all set to talk about things going on in the community, right? We were going to have this conversation about the breast milk and stuff. It's already been talked about to death. And then that live stream happened with Carrie, and Ryan has just, I don't want to talk about Ryan anymore.
We love Ryan.
Ryan is a special individual. I think we can all agree with that.
It's special
Yeah.
is right.
And it's funny. I didn't think the breast milk thing was that weird. I think getting some sort
Really?
of thrill out of
Really?
sitting on.
Are you a fan of drinking breast milk, Alice?
I've never drunk. Well, apart from when I was a baby, I haven't drunk breast milk. I don't know if it's maybe a thing that people have a problem with drinking regular milk, because I'm perfectly happy to drink milk out of a cow. I don't think I'd necessarily sidle under it and go right from the teat, but I kind of don't get it. I don't know if it's like, there are certain things I've found with Americans where they have a little bit more of like, almost like you can see how you guys were sort of founded from a puritanical sort of sensibility, because there are some things that you're prudish about that we in the UK generally tend to not be.
At least
So
So
I
people
wondered
in the
if maybe
UK
it was-
fans of drinking breast milk is like a common thing.
All right,
actually
confirmed.
no, in France it is.
Yeah,
There's a
you just
breast
you know
milk bar
it's
in France.
you go
At a front
to the
there.
supermarket and it's in the fridge next to the 7-Up. You know, it's just normal over here.
Well, I know you're not from America because you're talking about 7-Up.
Okay.
But you got to get 7-Up,
I've-
Akbar. What's wrong with you, man?
When's the last time you saw 7-Up? When's the last time you were like saying like, man, I could go for a nice crisp glass of 7-Up?
I don't drink
1950s.
a lot
I
of
had to-
pop anyway. Soda.
I had a 7-Up the other week.
Are you guys Coke people or soda people or pop
Pepsi.
people?
Soda.
Well, no, but I mean
I am
just
totally.
And orange soda mostly.
I used to say pop
Soft
because
drink.
I am from that part of the country, but I moved to New Zealand for a couple of years, and they called me out on it. And now I say soda. I can't go back.
I call them
Yeah.
soft drinks.
I call them sarsaparillas.
Tonics.
In the UK,
sarsaparillas.
we tend to call them fizzy drinks.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Everything in Europe just sounds.
But
so...
I'm definitely a Coke guy.
That's fucked
I've
up.
heard that about you.
I just like do it.
Yeah,
Riding that white dragon, hi Alice.
riding it hard.
Oh god.
I've
Yeah.
never seen anybody do drugs, and I've never done drugs.
Yeah, but I think the problem.
Thanks for letting us know, Alice. I didn't want to ask that question to you.
I don't think the problem was that he drank breast milk. I think it was that he drank certified breast milk.
Certified.
I kind
That
of don't get what that means.
I don't think it means anything.
That was all the what's the word? Knowledge that he had on what he drank was that it was certified breast milk. He didn't know who it came from.
Yeah, who was it certified by?
Yeah, where it came from, if it was actually breast milk or not.
Like
Human
Alice,
breath.
Alex clearly stated, it could have been semen.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure that there was somebody in the audience who said that it was it was their fiance or something that provided the sample. Or maybe this was on Twitter or something.
Actually,
I also
that's
saw
creepier.
somebody. I also saw
anyone else
somebody
think
in the
that's
community
really-
say,
Hold on. That is actually creepier than Ryan drinking the breast milk.
Hey, honey, I'm
I'm-
gonna go to this podcast panel at PAX, and I was wondering if you could give me some of your breast milk.
Oh, sure. What do they do? Oh,
Hey,
no, they talk about video
I-
games
I-
on the internet.
Yeah.
Can I have some of your breast milk,
I
please?
might have completely misinferred some piece of information from third-hand sources. So please don't take that as somehow, I don't know, canonical of Ryan
Well,
Davis's the story of
no.
Ryan Davis's life.
Even then, he had to get the breast milk from somewhere. That's just
Yeah.
really weird to me that conversation probably existed.
Where
I
it
The thing
came
that I
from is-
found.
Hey, Mom, I'm gonna go to this PAX panel. Wondering if you could give us some nice juice milk,
Well,
Alright.
how do we know?
Juice milk.
How do we know?
some nice milky.
How do we know?
Blueberry.
How do we know that the woman wasn't also a Giantbomb fan and heard the conversation on the
That's even
podcast and thought,
weirder.
they can.
Why you keep
They can
making it
try my
worse?
That's actually weirder.
I don't
It's like,
understand you guys.
I want to
part
milk
of me
my
now.
breast milk to give to the
I don't
giant bomb guys. I want to
I
milk
honestly don't-
myself.
I honestly don't understand why this freaks you out so much. I don't get it.
All right, if we're going to talk about this, which I didn't want to, but all right, let's talk about this. On one hand, yeah, maybe it's a little bit weirder that you're drinking the milk from another animal instead of the milk of a human. Yes, but also it's anonymous. Whatever humans are exchanging fluids, I mean, humans exchange diseases all the time. Would you want a anonymous blood transfusion that hasn't been certified or anything? Would you want?
Well,
But it
Which-
was certified.
Well, they are. I mean, they are anonymous. You
And
can't.
also, STDs don't transfer through breast milk.
Is that a thing? Am I
Are
misunderstanding? I
you
didn't know
just
that.
saying that, or is that
No,
been
that's
confirmed?
that's a total.
He's a doctor.
That's a thing. Yeah, I'm a doctor. Hello.
I'm a scientist.
Hello.
I'm an
I-
expert.
Science. I certified the breast milk.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess I
I'm
wasn't
pretty
aware
sure
of that.
that's a thing. I think that doesn't transfer over, or I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Or
So
or
how
don't.
did I get this rash then?
You were drinking uncertified, man.
Damn it. Yeah, I think I saw something in the community on one of the threads that somebody was very clearly saying I would refuse to drink breast milk unless I was provided with a photo of the woman's who was
Oh my
providing it,
God.
which the fact that made it
Ban
better
that
for that
person,
person
please.
made absolutely no sense to me. If I was a moderator, I would totally ban
their picture. To get some
Yeah,
context
I-
out of drinking his breast milk.
You want to know it's
I can
coming
do
from a
that.
clean source, I guess.
I need to look
Just
into
like
their
me.
eyes. Yeah, I've no idea.
Oh shit! Never mind. Forget that. STDs can be transferred through breast milk.
Well,
Yeah,
there you
I
go.
was about to say. I'm pretty sure they can.
This is going
Yeah.
nowhere. Okay, we obviously need
All
to
right,
do our
are we
homework
going into
for next week.
Bioshock? Let's go into Bioshock.
Yeah, it's going to
Well,
Bioshock.
no, wait. I thought we were gonna talk about community stuff real quick.
Right. Before
Okay,
we talk about
let's-
Bioshock spoilers, there's just a few things we need to say to the community if people are actually listening.
Probably
John-
not.
No, everyone's listening. This is like
Of course.
on the front page.
Yeah.
The name Giantbomb Community Podcast is a great name, and you know what you're getting into. But if you think you are incredibly
Bombcast
clever,
Babies.
you come up with a better name that's not Bombcast Babies or Giant Bombcast or Good Luck Have Podcast
Giant Bombcast. We should just do that. Giant
or the
Bombcast.
Tiny Bombcast.
Little Bombcast.
None of these are good enough.
Bombcast Junior.
We have an email address.
That's pretty good.
It's
That's pretty good.
giantbombcommunitypodcast@gmail.com. You can send anything there. You can just put them in the comments too.
Yeah, you send us some email too to.
Yeah, we're definitely a community podcast. We're going to be trying to talk more about the community, things that are going on in the community, and feedback from you guys. And we will read emails. So if you have discussions on things you'd like to hear us talk about, or you just want us to read a letter, or you want to ask us whatever kind of questions you want, send it to giantbombcommunitypodcast@gmail.com. We'll check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
spoilers from here on out.
Spoilers.
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 Snape kills Dumbledore.
Metal Gear.
You knew. Okay, spoilers.
Spoilers.
I don't even know where to begin with this.
Hey, we put spoilers. That's all that matters. Because I don't think
So who understood what was going on after they beat the game?
I thought I had a pretty
I
grasp
got a
on
good
it.
idea, I think.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I got it.
I have a fairly good idea.
I don't want to say
I
I
will-
completely
Oh, wait,
understood
After
what's
you
going
beat
on,
it.
but
He
I wanna
understood
make-
everything.
One call out to the forums.
Yeah.
That spoilers, the endgame spoilers thread,
Mhm.
fucking phenomenal. You guys are
yeah, those people are
geniuses.
brilliant.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Right. I think
Keep
I
it
need
up.
to look through this thing to be clear on what you're talking about. Not
No, it's
now, because it
good.
will take a while, but
Yeah, they just like had really good ideas. They really understood what was going on. You
Alright.
know, yeah, just it's stuff
Well-
you wouldn't really think about usually.
there was one thread that I certainly wanted to call out. I sort of mentioned it earlier with what's the guy's name? Is it Bog?
Bog.
Is it, yeah, B-O-G, yeah, Bog, talking
You're talking
about
American
the
exception.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we start with something else, or should I go more in depth? From
Yeah,
what I'm
here's
talking
something else we should start with. There's a segment after the credits, and I love the fact that they've made the game. It has kind of a sad ending in some respects, but it also has a potentially a happy ending that you see after the credits. And I hit the goddamn spacebar and skipped over the scene, and I didn't even know it was there until the next
Oh,
day
man,
when I
you-
read about it in the forums, and I had to watch it on
Dude,
YouTube.
Yeah, I did
Dude,
the
you
same
fuck,
thing.
you fucked
How
up.
many other games have an actually fully playable sequence after the credits?
None. Well, like Halo Reach, and that
Oh,
was
right.
awesome in that one
That
too.
was that after the credits? I feel
That was
like
after
that
the
wasn't after the credits.
It was after the credits.
It was after the credits.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a
Okay.
great ending though.
So the one thing I wanted to mention, just a few spoilers. The part when you're in the lab and you're turning off the machines, and you turn off that last one, and you turn around, and that guy with the big ear trumpets is right behind you. Great
I-
moment. Great
I was
moment.
I was armed with the shotgun and I shot him right in the face.
Yeah.
I was
Great
so freaked
moment.
out.
I
was-
wasn't. I didn't turn around. See, first I just wanted to just back up, but I was still looking forward. I couldn't move back, and so I turned around and saw him. Oh my god! It was a great moment.
That was
That-
terrifying.
Yeah, but it would have probably been more effective if it wasn't also in the original Bioshock, and it was in Singularity, which is what jumped to my mind at first, and not the
You
original.
know, relevant games.
Yeah, like Singularity.
hey,
Which is-
Singularity was awesome.
Singularity's
I'm not
pretty
I
saying-
good.
got up to the part where there were little things that were killing me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop playing this.
I'm not saying Singularity wasn't good. I never played it, and I intend to at some point. But I just
Really makes me sad there's never gonna be a sequel to that game.
who
Well,
even made that
somebody
game?
is, but-
Raven. I think.
Singularity was a Raven joint.
Is
Yeah.
that one on Steam? Singularity?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Probably.
Pretty sure.
Also, had
I
really
I
good
own
player Singularity.
I own Singularity on Steam. I'm pretty sure I bought it during one of the sales.
It's still $30. I'll wait for a sale.
I can't remember.
That
who
was a
brought
30
that.
bucks.
Oh,
Robot Man.
robots.
The one thing I was thinking about was throughout Bioshock 1, throughout the course of the game, you got this real sense that things were like caving in on you. That there was always more and more pressure was being built up around the player. And in Bioshock and in the Infinite, you felt, or at least I felt, like things were coming apart at the seams.
Yes.
And it was
I
this
could
real
see that.
cool juxtaposition of the first one and the second one, where the first one you felt everything was being mounted up on you more and more and more, and in this one you felt like you were just trying to keep things together.
Yeah,
Well,
specifically the moment when you go through the tear and go into the world where you actually were supposed to have died and become the martyr for the Vox Populi, and then from there everything completely goes to shit due to the civil war between the two sides. Like that was just such that was just brilliant.
And did anyone else just feel horrible about that?
I wouldn't
Like-
say
Not so.
horrible.
I mean, that moment when you're kind of going back to the first areas of the game, and then you just see the people, the actual citizens of Colombia, trying to get onto these barges just to fly away as far as they could, just so they won't die.
Screw them, they're racist.
Yeah, fuck
anyway.
them. They're
No,
sky
yeah.
But
racists.
even then, they were just
They're
people,
sky
and they were
racists.
like indoctrinated.
Well, no,
And
you can tell they
That's
were
the new,
assholes
that's the new
about it too.
Skylanders game is Sky Racists.
Did you stop and listen to them when they were getting on the barge and they were
Oh, yeah.
they keep saying throw off your luggage so we can fit more people, and they had like a real
Yeah.
Titanic lifeboat situation going on there where
Yeah,
people would
and
rather
like-
hold on to their no, fuck them, they deserve to get blown up.
So what you're saying
No, I
is you
don't
want to have a
think so.
little.
I think Comstock and the police deserved it, but I don't think the actual populace deserved anything. I mean,
Yeah,
sure, they were
I
racist,
don't know.
They are sky racists.
but they're racist. But
No,
do they
not the
really
popular.
deserve to be
Those
killed
were not
like that?
likable
Hello.
people.
The people.
I don't think they were that bad in the end.
I kind of.
I kind of felt some remorse for kind of uprooting their entire lives and probably killing thousands of them.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, even.
I think
But
that
that's
was
the thing.
kind
It
of
was
yeah.
unintentional. It wasn't. You didn't make that choice. I mean, you
But
you entered a
but I
world
did.
where that choice had already been made.
But I still kind of bled that on. That was kind of like that's why I felt bad about it in the first place. I mean, sure they were racist and sure they were horrible, but I mean at the same time the Vox Populi had the same motivations that Comstock did.
Yeah, they made
Yeah,
it very
they did.
they made it very clear that in terms of just evil and what they were sort of trying to orchestrate in the city, that Comstock and Fitzroy were two sides of the same coin.
Well,
Yeah.
what's her name? Daisy Fitzsimmons. Is that
Fitzgerald.
right?
Daisy
Fitz-
Fitzroy.
Fitzroy.
it's Roy, not Fitzgerald.
Sorry.
She, I mean, in a lot of ways, she was just as bad as everyone else. She killed
Oh,
that.
totally.
First,
No,
I
I
mean,
mean, that's-
I think that was the
You know.
point.
Yeah.
That was
And
kind
that-
of extreme. Don't go to extremes. I think the whole idea was don't have extremism.
Yeah, I think the very clear message of that game is that you don't want to. I hate getting too much into like messages in terms of things, in stories and things in culture. But I think there is definitely sort of the moral of that story of the moral of that tale being, finding the middle ground is always where true happiness and true prosperity can
think-
possibly be found.
I think that's one of the themes, but I don't think that's the overall theme.
No, not at all. Not at
'Cause
all.
the overall theme
has
is
a ton of
atoning-
different messages.
I think the main message is atoning for your past and your sins, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's.
I don't know if it's atoning as much as it is for
Well, like
being
I-
trying to be
atoning is
forgiven or
recognizing and forgiving yourself and others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this whole moment for me after the ending where I kind of thought there is a way that this could all have just happened in Booker DeWitt's head as his way to sort of justify like him being at Wounded Knee and all the weird stuff that all the horrible
be.
stuff that he's gone through. Like you could take that angle with that story. I have no intention of actually doing that. It's one angle, and I think that would have been they could have gone that way.
it all
Just-
happened in his head, like the
just real
indoctrination.
Just real quick, since you mentioned Wounded Knee, the Hall of Heroes museum sequence where you're walking through the
Fantastic.
Incredible.
beautiful.
Fantastic.
Also, looking back at it after you beat the game, that section blew my mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It reminded me a lot of the Dead Space or Dead Space 2 when you go through the the nursery, the children's
Yeah.
like school or whatever.
That's
Brilliant
that's a
sequence.
really good
brilliant
comparison.
sequence.
That's a really good.
Yeah, it's a
And
good
I have-
comparison.
I have to say, one of the most interesting parts of the backstory that I missed the audio log or whatever, I didn't quite pick up on it, but the fact that the thing that goes wrong with Colombia is that it becomes this big sort of mechanized platform, and they go to China and fire on the Boxer rebels. Like that is absolutely sensational. Like who knew before like what the Boxer rebellion was? Like, is it just me being nerdy about this stuff as a historian?
I had
No,
an idea of what
I'm
it
a
was about.
historian too, and I really thought that fascinating.
Yeah.
I'd love like a book or something, like a kind of universe, like kind of
There are a few. I
Like-
know that.
like just something out of this context and just talk about Colombia, like a historical reference, like
there-
oh
You mean
Colombia,
like a codex or something.
yeah,
There's
like
one.
something like that. I would
There's
love
And
that.
that-
it's on
and
sale
that's
on
it's-
the Irrational Store for like $100 or something.
Yeah.
And
I'm
that's
with you,
exact-
Alex, and loving that because I'm kind of a history nerd
Yeah.
too.
and that's exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about the missed opportunity part, because I would have just
Now-
personally would have loved it more if they'd gone into that stuff, and the fact that it was a sci-fi. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like sci-fi. I read Dune last year and really liked it, and I play a Mass Effect, but it just I think that there was a real opportunity to do something
Well,
truly special.
I don't think the actual story beat is about sci-fi either. I mean, in the end, it's emotion and love between like a father
Yeah,
and a daughter.
love's the main theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's fair.
heartbreak, not just love, but heartbreak. Like the fact that you like failure is a real
Recurring.
is a recurring theme in this game, and like what failure means on a personal emotional level.
And to what you said about the missed opportunity with American exceptionalism, I think they did little on that on purpose. They kind of set this up to make you think that, oh, it's just Bioshock again, but instead of objectivism, it's exceptionalism. But
But
they
I
really
actually-
wanted to tell an emotional story. You know,
I
they
kinda-
led
I
you
kinda-
into this false sense of security of what. Okay, I think I know what's gonna go. This is more like detracting you from the actual like twists and turns.
I agree, but at the same time, I hadn't read any Ayn Rand, and I had no real connection to or knowledge of objectivism going into Bioshock 1, whereas I'm actually much more interested and much more invested in the backdrop for Bioshock Infinite. And this is all just me. This is all just me speaking personally, and sure that people have wild. And I do agree that the most important thing in that game is the arc that the two main characters go through, and I thought that stuff was absolutely sensational.
I'm sorry.
Like you say, there could be some like I never played Minerva's Den, but the way people talked about Minerva's Den and how it sort of was a great piece of DLC that provided some fantastic context for that world. Like, that's what I want for Bioshock Infinite. I just want more, and I want more of that stuff that really gripped me and really was novel and fascinating, and I would happily have spent a whole game just going through all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have
Hey,
something to
guys.
say about Songbird for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please go ahead.
I like Songbird, but I'm kind of disappointed in his role in it. He never really was that important, like throughout the whole story.
Yeah,
But
he
near
didn't
the end,
show up.
he's kind of a big
Completely
deal.
agree.
Yeah.
I couldn't disagree with you less.
I
I
really
was
wish. Sorry.
Wow.
He has select roles and they're important, but he isn't really a factor in the main story, like
No.
I
in the
think-
middle section. But
I think that might have been a case where the marketing led a lot of people to
Yeah,
believe
that's
it
what
was
I'm
gonna be
saying.
like
It feels
this
like
game's
it-
version of the Big Daddy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Daddy's full. You should fight fire.
Ooh,
Whoa,
robot.
whoa, say that again.
Fat Mac, you're gonna need to go over that again. You roboted out there.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still a little bit fuzzy, but yeah.
You should be good now.
Okay, like at least in Bioshock, you fought big daddies. Like they were still part of the story, but not a real big one. But with Bioshock Infinite, there were just select scenes with Songbird, but he really wasn't in the whole story. Like only in select scenes. Like I didn't really feel that much of a connection with Songbird.
Yeah. I think my real problem with that is that they kind of played him up to be this super important character. Where they like when you meet future Elizabeth, she kind of says like he beats you every time. And I kind of
Yeah,
wish
like
there were more kind of nemesis moments with him.
Yeah, where you actually fight him instead of just watch a cutscene.
yeah,
with him.
Yeah.
I think
it's one of these
that-
it's one of these things where I wish you could fight him a little bit. Like
And
I was
then-
kind of expecting that, but perhaps that wasn't the point of
I
it.
was
I
expecting
wish-
it too, and then I was glad when you didn't. CAGE.
Yeah.
It's a song. It's
Yeah.
not a word, and he's on your side at the end, and
That was
And that was
brilliant.
awesome.
great.
That doesn't completely excuse his absence from most of the story, but I think it alleviates a little bit of it because being able to send him to destroy those huge whatever the hell they were called. That was
Zeppelins.
awesome.
Zeppelins.
And then
Yeah.
fucking Rapture.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I like you're just
my-
not talking.
my-
didn't
told-
you? But I mean, everybody had to feel like at some point there was going to be some reference to
Oh,
that.
I think it
Nope.
would be a Rapture.
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to just
completely
jump in
blindsided
there
me.
though.
I was not
Good.
completely blindsided, but nonetheless, it was a great, great moment.
Yeah,
The
I told
city-
I sat here.
One
and
of my
watched
favorite,
brother
if not
jump
my
into
favorite
that.
moment. Just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
A city under
There
the
was-
sea. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There, there
I
were
wish
two,
you could have talked to Ryan or something. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
DLC.
there were
Probably
two
it's a bit too much on the nose, maybe. But
I literally
there were
had to
two
stop-
there were two
stop
sequences in
for a
that
second.
game that made my jaw drop. That was the first one, and the second one was when you find out what happened with Elizabeth's finger, because I just think that was so well done.
No,
That
I
was
think-
just
Yeah.
I think
that was
when
just
you
such a
walk in-
devastating and brilliant just execution, and the fact that he says Anna as he's trying to pull her back,
Yeah.
like just the revelation of what that story really is and
To
how
that,
it all
I
fits
like-
together.
yeah, to that, I like as you're beating up Comstock. Booker reveals that I have the finger or something. Like when he's beating him up, he says something really quick, like I have the finger of Elizabeth. Whatever.
Yeah.
He says
And
that
I
when he's
thought-
beating up Comstock.
You have to press the interact button to actually sort of wrestle Comstock off of Elizabeth. And I thought that, hang on, if I actually don't press this button, is he going to go into some revelation about what and just sort of do the exposition dump then? But I guess maybe just yeah.
It's too bad he couldn't quick save at that moment. Just let it go and then quick load.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird, but I didn't necessarily have a problem with there not being a proper save system.
I didn't either.
just
It
wish
wasn't
more
that big
people
deal.
would talk
but-
about
I didn't like that. I
Yeah,
wanted
me
I
too.
guess-
I'm not a fan of it.
I guess the only thing is I don't really understand why. I don't understand why
Yeah.
they could like what's the functional advantage of not letting people save?
Maybe
them?
there's too much stuff in an area. I don't
Yeah.
really.
I don't think that's true.
Well, maybe it is to not have.
There are some games that have this type of save system where you
Yeah.
can only save and cut and checkpoints. Or
Fable.
Because there are
Yeah,
moments like at the ticket counter where did anybody not pick the thing to get stabbed with the stab through the hand?
Nope, that
Uh,
motherfucker stabbed me right through the goddamn hand.
There are moments like that, so maybe it's like an attempt so you could not quick save right before and then go back and make the other
Yeah.
decision. Maybe that was part
well,
of
So
it.
who got
even-
stabbed?
Yeah.
I got
I
stabbed.
I got
got
stabbed.
stabbed.
Yeah, I got stabbed.
I got stabbed
think
the first time. I was like, oh no, I can't do this. So
Do you get stabbed
bird
for
or
both
birdcage?
choices?
No, you don't.
Oh, so you can
bird.
go through the whole game without a bandage around
Or
your hand?
birdcage.
Yeah, how about that?
That's pretty great actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I chose
Did
the
you
bird.
guys choose a bird or cage?
Oh, bird.
I don't
I chose
remember.
the bird.
I think
course.
I
I
chose
chose
the bird.
Does that
What
make
did you
any
choose, bird?
difference?
Not really.
I
See
think
where-
it changes the way she talks to you through the beginning of the game.
That's
Or
kind of
not,
cool.
you
Then.
know, the
I mean, let me get
beginning
one
of
thing.
that
This
section.
when this is all said and done, I would have played this game like 3 times. Like I didn't want to jump back into it as soon as I'd finished playing it. I definitely want to do a hard run. That sounded kind of weird actually, a nice hard run. I definitely want to go through the game again on hard and
Go
sort of
1999 mode, man. If you're gonna play hard.
Yeah.
I'm actually really curious in trying out 1999 because I'm really curious as to what are the actual decisions that can screw you over. Because off the top of my head, I can't actually think of what they might be.
It's really more stuff like I don't have enough ammo or I don't have enough health and you can't really reset.
Can someone
be-
explain 99 mode to me? Because I don't know what that is.
I unlocked it last night. I don't know what it does.
I
Yeah.
don't know
It's
either.
just supposed to be
It-
difficult.
It's
And to
just
be
different.
honest, I played through most of the game on hard, and I knocked it down to medium sometime in the fight with the ghost of Lady Comstock.
Lady Comstock.
Lady Comstock.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to ever go back in and play that game on hard again.
I'm with
I
you.
feel like I
Yeah.
feel like the game is more.
These are one of these
in
few games after
scenery
you
and
experience the
story.
story, you don't really want to go back unless you want to see like the clues that they drop.
I want to
Those
replay
are
it, but I
some
want to
pretty good
replay it and
clues,
see
though.
the story and
Yeah,
scenery
me
and
I want to get all
characters.
those voxophones.
It's not
The
like Halo
combat
where
at-
I'm just here for the gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
the
anything, go
combat
back and
at
play it
the
on
end
an
of that
easier
game
setting.
gets really
Yeah.
hard.
I mean, for me, I mean that game wasn't just about sort of the revelation of the tale, like just the atmosphere and the
Right.
the feeling of just being in that world was brilliant in its own way. And yeah, that there was definitely one case where I found a code book but didn't find the cipher.
I only
I
found
never go for
two.
those.
Which ones did you? I only found two. The one that like they make you find, and then I found one outside of the gunsmith. Those were
I
the
don't
one
ones
think
that I
find
found.
any of them.
The
I
one that I
found-
did. The one that I didn't find was the one in sort of, you got that big open area before you go into Comstock House,
Yeah.
which is around the area where you
Oh,
fight
yeah.
Comstock. That area is huge and easy to explore, or not easy, but it gives you a lot of ways to explore. But that was definitely the one place where I definitely found a code book and didn't find a cipher.
Yeah, me too.
All right, guys.
Did
this
anybody?
Isn't, this isn't.
Did anybody? Well, real quick, did anybody go back? You find the keys at the beginning, and it says go back and look for something to unlock. Did anybody do that?
There was one
No.
time where I did that, and I kind of thought it was stupid. Like
Yeah.
they make you backtrack a long goddamn way to go and get that, and I didn't think that added much, apart from the fact that it gave me like 200 silver eagles, which I
Well,
I
there
don't know.
really wasn't enough stuff to just give you in the first place, like, in my opinion, you know.
This isn't
Yeah.
necessarily stuff that we need to have a specific spoiler section about. We're just kind of getting into specific details about
Yeah.
systems and stuff
Yeah.
now. Anyway, this was I think it was a
Wait.
pretty good first podcast.
Does anyone have
hold on,
anything
hold
else to say? Last thing.
I kind of want to talk about just the thing I don't know why anyone hasn't talked about yet. The whole reveal of there is always a lighthouse, there is always one man, and there's always a girl and a protector.
Yeah, I thought I think that's a very, to me, like, if there, like, we're not going to get into games as art or whatever, but if there is an art to games, part of it lies in the like temporal, ephemeral, like repeatable nature of things. The impermanence of it is part of the art, if there is an art, I think. And I think that stuff like that, it really speaks to that. Stuff like the fact that there's always a lighthouse, like this will always repeat, that kind of speaks into what I think the art, if there is an art of games, to what it is.
You kind of don't want to fall into that trap of attributing like quality games to just one person, but goddamn, that Ken Levine is a smart motherfucker.
And also, Sean,
general
I don't
is
know.
really
I don't know if anybody was a fan of the One Up podcast, but Sean Elliott, who used to do GFW and COGW and One Up Yours, he was a lead designer. I don't know if he was a lead designer, but he was a designer on this game, and he absolutely, I mean, all this kind of stuff is right up his alley. I mean, this is very much a game that was made by people with a message and not a marketing group trying to what can we put in this game that'll move copies, right?
I don't know if anyone else
actually single player without multiplayer stuff in it.
Yeah,
Mad about that.
And the idea, I just absolutely love that. Beyond just the concept of what games are as art, there's just commentary on just the storytelling nature of games within that. You know, there's always one man, then there's always one objective, there's always one thing in his way, you know.
And when you're going through that lighthouse sequence and all the sequences that wrap up the game, like there's no shooting, like there's nothing, and it's still great.
Yeah,
Like,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
that they
no
can
last
and
boss
you're
fight.
you know, it's a little thing, but a lot of parts of this game, they force you to walk. There's not only is there no sprint, but you can only move at a very slow pace. Like,
it's like saying, look around.
Yeah,
And
so much of subtle encouragement in this game is built around. No. Take your time here. You don't have to rush through this. Just take your time.
The complete confusion that Troy Baker puts into Booker's voice during that sequence of that.
Yeah, just a fantastic performance across.
Yeah.
Everyone.
The voice acting is great. The part where he's hanging off the balloon, it's right after they get like thrown out of the airship, and Spotlight tells him, he's like, no, it's fine. I just have to arm an entire populist uprising. It's fine. We'll be fine. Like that line in particular, I thought was a great.
Yeah, he's got some good quips.
He's a pretty good voice actor.
Really good at playing up the emotion when he needs to, and especially that ideal of confusion of he pretty much got the multiverse like shown to him.
Yeah,
he plays that well, as if like.
There's one specific moment that I remember where Elizabeth is trying to explain some concept that I think is maybe about the tears, and he just says something to the effect of, "I'm still trying to work out the whole Lady Comstock dead, bringing people back to life thing."
I
thought that was really funny.
I wasn't.
And that part where he hit people with chairs was really great too.
Yeah,
exactly. How does Comstock take control of her to bring Lady Comstock back?
Yeah, thank you.
That's actually a good question. I hadn't thought about that.
Like, and I know there's some kind of, they mentioned something about a siphon.
Yeah, cipher.
Cipher. I'm not exactly sure. Like that just felt like it came a little bit.
Well, they're in her tower. They have a giant siphon. They're sucking the power out of her, and I'm assuming they're using it to help float the city because they talk about how the city is. Floating.
No, they're suppressing Elizabeth.
Well, they're suppressing Elizabeth, and they're using the energy, I think, partially to lift the city, because they mentioned earlier in the game that the city is lifted through quantum mechanics and nothing else.
And,
it was Lutece that came up with that technology, though, and it's not.
Yeah, exactly. There are some really good voxophones with the female Lutece. I don't remember her name.
How do you guys feel
those
about
characters
that?
are so good.
Those characters are absolutely
great
phenomenal.
characters.
Fantastic.
How do you guys feel about that? The voxophone stuff.
I like
Uh,
it.
Do you think this
I
game
think-
should explain itself more, or do you think it should have just
Well,
hid these little things around for
I
you
think
to-
it explains
didn't even
itself just fine. It just doesn't. There's never a point where a character sits down and tells you like, okay, here's what you need to know. Here's the story.
And-
like
I
you
am
get
just
little.
I
like
am
how
fine
stuff
with that.
works. Like even
Yeah.
Matt's still kind of confused as to
I
how.
mean,
Like too many games are concerned with the specifics of how something works, and they have like a character or a couple of characters whose purpose is to say it's just expound on all this technical stuff, and I don't care.
There is
I
there is
think
no
Bioshock
moment of
pulled that
there
up.
is no moment of info dump in Bioshock Infinite, and I think
well, Elizabeth's a little bit.
Yeah,
I
a little bit.
guess.
Kinda, but it's never. It's
I mean,
fine.
the end
It's a great
of the
way to
game,
tell you what's going on and what.
there's no
the story
there's no
really-
significant moment of info dump.
Yeah, right.
the end of the
I
game
would
kind
say
of
the
is
end of the
that
game
though.
is
Yeah.
But it's
It-
trying to
it's
explain
so
what the story's
executed,
about, I
it
guess.
doesn't matter.
No, the end
Yeah.
of the game is just here. Pretty much, here's how everything works, and in some ways that's a bad storytelling, but I think it worked
Well,
fine in
it's,
this game.
it's done
They
well.
they needed
Yeah.
it. They really needed
Yeah.
it though, and
Yeah.
and dragging on that sequence, I don't think would have necessarily made it better because I think to an extent it was succinct in some really intelligent ways.
Now before we go on, yeah, do you think there'll be another Bioshock after this, or do you think this is the end
No.
of it? No.
Yes.
I kind of
After they revealed their hands of explaining the whole Bioshock universe, I think it's over.
Well, it takes them. It also takes Irrational like 4 or 5 years to make a freaking Bioshock game.
I
I
think
don't know.
this is it. Just-
I don't know if 2K really wants to fund them to spend another 4 or 5 years unless Infinite sells like crazy.
It
They
already
spent
is.
Some
yeah,
crazy
they
money
spent
for
a
that game.
lot of money marketing this game. And Ken Levine, I mean, in that podcast, not that podcast, in that talk they had on the couch on the site, he was talking about like, I need to maybe take a step back and think about things after this. And I think, I bet they don't want to make one really right
Yeah.
away. The way that
I'm
the
not-
console generation is about to switch over, a lot of that's up in the air. Like, this is not a. This is. I don't think they need to make that decision right now. Is what I'm
I
saying.
think also
kind of a
Yeah.
suggestion. I kind of wish they'd make smaller like indie games because I really love their stories and universe building.
if you
I
think
love their.
about it,
I love Irrational's attempt at indie games. Maybe.
if you think about it, with
That
the
would be cool.
with the ending of Bioshock Infinite and the lighthouses, they've kind of pulled back the curtain on sort of the premise behind those worlds. So can they then go and do a whole new one where it's a whole new lighthouse
Yeah.
when you've already
Well, I
had
think
that?
you can.
I don't
I think you
But
can
I
have a
think that
story of a
also
lesser
sets it up.
scale.
I think that also sets them up for multiple sequels if they wanted to
Yeah,
go down
maybe
that
you're
route.
right. Maybe you're right.
But
I have one last final thing to say about Bioshock Infinite.
Sure.
Did anyone else notice that Dave Lang is given a special thanks in the credits?
He did the PS2 or the PS3 version.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Because man of the moment, dive kick.
I know
best-
he's
yeah.
on
He's
every-
also a songbird.
Dive stat.
Mocap.
Okay.
It looks
Yeah, I
just
think
like
that's all about Bioshock, huh?
Maybe,
All right.
maybe we'll have had some new people.
That is
who played it
literally
next week.
everything there is to say about Bioshock.
Oh, never mind.
All right.
I can say
Yo,
it.
quantum physics.
Okay.
is cool.
Yep, you're right. Don't forget, you can email us at giantbombcommunitypodcast@gmail.com. At the moment, we're taking just about anything. Comments, questions, name suggestions. Whoa.
Theme music. If you want to send in some theme music.
Theme
we'll put
music.
that on.
All right.
Art.
Yeah,
Pictures of your
podcast art,
pets.
theme music. Sure, send me pictures of your cats.
Your-
I don't care.
SSS, whatever. Security number. Send us whatever.
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
PIN number.
Yeah, your PIN number, your date of birth, anything.
You just want to send us all your info. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. That's it, guys. Thanks. Hopefully, we'll be back next week.
Yep.
See you
Bye,
later.
guys.
Bye.
See you
All right.
guys.
Bye.